It's about to get chilly in here. Today, we are celebrating 30 years of Get Shorty. We are excited to also celebrate the life of a legend, Gene Hackman, on today's episode of Dissect That Film. Let's go!
Flip the switches to maximum amplification as Parker, Dan, and Angela prepare for their operation. With trivia and plot points scrawled across their walls, laughter and debate erupts as the movie's drama calls. The world may call them crazy, minds gone astray, but genius and passion and madness all dance the same way. Now the show begins to rise from its broadcast realm, and you can open your eyes as we dissect that film.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dissect That Film podcast, a podcast that dissects the good, the bad, and the ugly. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, my wonderful co-host, Dan. Dan told me I had to change the intro for him, so now it's weird. It's uncomfortable. I don't like how natural it comes out of my mouth now.
It sounded really unnatural when you said it.
It was like, I wasn't ready. Dan.
Yeah, I have the cheese balls, but Angela's in here.
Oh man, yeah. Unfortunately, Angela was she ran off to Vegas. She faked she faked a plane crash and took some money. Went to a casino. Won some money, and now she's being chased by some loan sharks. So unfortunately she couldn't make it tonight, but we're thinking about her, and hopefully she'll be able to get back to us at some point and in one piece. So
yes,
we miss you, Angela. But today we have a guest, a first-time guest, but boy, has he been a part of this show for a while now. He is the host of so many different podcasts, and the Podcast Will Rock, which is a Van Halen podcast, and currently they're covering the songs of the solo careers of all the lead singers or former lead singers of Van Halen. He also hosts the Ultimate Catalog Clash, and he also has a movie podcast called The Power of Positive Geeking, which you can hear my voice on an episode that we're going to talk about during this episode on Crimson Tide. Jeez. I probably did that when we talked about the movies. We have Corey Morrissette in the house. What's going on, Corey?
Thank you very much. Are you sure you should be doing the intros? Maybe Dan should be doing those. I don't know. That was a little funky.
That was a little clunky? No. Have you listened to the show before?
I have, That's why I'm bringing it up.
Have you listened to the Monster Zone? God. It's like a damn train wreck. It's like, is the show starting? Like, no, we're clearing the bodies out of the way. Hang on.
I gotta say though, I only came for Angela, and she's not even here. Like, I don't know if I'm going to stick around. It's a real sausage party. Like, I look forward to Angela's comments every single week, and she's not even here. I'm trying not to take it personally.
She clears the air. It's fair. I understand.
Yes, Angela is the glue of the show, and clearly you could tell it is falling apart at the seams. And we're trying to hold up the wallpaper as we're talking. Like, hopefully we won't die.
Yeah.
45 seconds in, and it's already a train wreck. I love
exactly. Welcome to Dissect That Film. If it's not slightly off the rails, then we're doing it wrong. We're 100% doing it wrong.
That's how I podcast too. So I feel right at home.
I want people to listen and go, the fuck, are they all right? Somebody should check on them. Corey, we're so happy to have you here. I literally messaged you about coming on to talk about this movie, and you were super excited, and I'm excited to talk about this movie because this is one that I grew up with and watched a lot. And the main reason why we're talking about Get Shorty today is because of Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman is a pivotal character in this movie. Unfortunately, we lost him about a few weeks ago now, and we felt it was appropriate to pay tribute to a legend. And what better movie than Get Shorty, a movie that I don't really see people talk about. Like when it comes to Gene Hackman movies or just this movie in general, just doesn't get talked about. And so I wanted to put it out there, and Corey was very excited to talk about it himself. He said it was like one of his favorite movies.
Absolutely.
So of course I'm going to have him on the show. And also we've been trying to get him on the show for a while now. So it's finally happened.
Well, I'm sorry in advance. I am Canadian. I'm going to apologize a lot. But when you said, hey, it's Get Shorty, I'm like, I am there because 95, I was in film school. And this movie was huge. You said no one's talking about it now. Man, were we talking about it in 95? This is the same generation of like film students coming off of like Reservoir Dogs and then Pulp Fiction in 94. And then you're getting stuff like Barry Sonnenfeld and Get Shorty and Elmore Leonard in 95. Of course, Tarantino would do Rum Punch as Jackie Brown the next year. Out of Sight was a big one. Like this was a huge kind of Elmore Leonard kind of period in film. And Get Shorty really kicked it off. And you meant like the cast is just stellar. Gene Hackman, of course, is brilliant in everything. We talked about it on my show with Crimson Tide. I just did a show on Unforgiven, which he was also very brilliant in. But this film, you got John Travolta, you got Danny DeVito, you got Rene Russo, you got Dennis Farina. Like it's just an amazing, well-cast movie. And one of my favorite directors is not even really working anymore. He did the stupid 9 Lives thing with Kevin Spacey, and that pretty much tanked his career. And he's not really making movies anymore. Like I need more Barry Sonnenfeld in my life.
Wait, did that movie come out after Men in Black 3?
It did, yes.
Oh, I say Men in Black 3 came out in 2012 or 2013. Oh, I thought 9 Lives was before that, but I didn't even know he did that movie. And
9 Lives was 2016.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ugh, that movie is terrible.
Yes, it is.
And not just because Kevin Spacey's in it. The movie's just bad. It was a bad premise, poorly executed, and it sucks that one movie, kind of they put the older directors out to pasture. Like, okay, I think it's about done for you, pal. And you're like, no, they probably have something else. Come on, give them another chance.
Just anything.
Men in Black 4. I don't even care anymore.
Oh God, please no.
No, we did get a Men in Black 4, and it was international, and it was awful.
Yes. Sonnenfeld didn't even get the Get Shorty sequel. Be Cool.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that one. But today we're talking about Get Shorty from 1995. Corey pretty much did a little bit of what I usually do, but I'm going to do it again because that's what we do here. It was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, this is the third film we have covered on the show by Mr. Sonnenfeld. We talked about The Addams Family from 1991, and then we talked about Men in Black from 1997, possibly one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. This was in between Addams Family Values and Men in Black because this came out in 95. And this was the only R-rated film Barry Sonnenfeld did in his career.
Really?
Yep. For the longest time, I didn't even know this was a Barry Sonnenfeld movie. Like, like I said, I watched it as a kid. So I watched it a little, at a young age. And, half the time you don't pay attention to the credits in the beginning where it shows everything going on. And so, yeah, I never knew this was the same guy who did Men in Black, the same guy who did the Addams Family movies. Like, it just slipped my mind. But it's when you watch it again as an adult, you can see the elements of Barry Sonnenfeld in there, where it kind of is like, okay, now it feels more like a Sonnenfeld movie.
Especially visually, he had such a visual style when he was a cinematographer. If you remember movies like Raising Arizona.
Yep.
Or Misery, or even 3 O'Clock High, which is a great deep cut. If people haven't seen 3 O'Clock High, he was the cinematographer on that. It's absolutely brilliant how he shot that movie. But even when you get things like Chili Palmer kind of getting out of his car, we kind of go from a vehicle shot to a handheld shot walking through, like just little clever things he did as a cinematographer. He carries over in his visual style as a director, and it really kind of makes his mark that way. Visually, you can tell when it's a Barry Sonnenfeld film.
Oh yeah, I mean the way it's shot, the way you get like throwaway dialogue that is very, if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. Like just subtle, like little quips from characters you'll never see again, just like walking by, which we'll talk about in the beginning of the movie because there's one that's like very like poignant where you're like, oh, like I feel like if you were just paying attention to Chili the whole time, you're not gonna remember the lady walking out of the hotel or the wherever she's coming out of, that building she was coming out of that Ray's staying at. She's like, oh, it's chilly or it's cold. It's like because they're literally talking about that in the beginning of the movie. So, and Barry Sonnenfeld did that a lot in his movies. It's just like adding throwaway characters and throwaway lines that kind of adds something special to the movie if you're really paying attention. It was written by Scott Frank, who also did a screenplay for Out of Sight, which is another Elmore film. He also helped write Logan in 2017. And he also did some writing and directing for Godless and The Queen's Gambit from Netflix. This was based on Get Shorty by Elmore Leonard, who also wrote Out of Sight. And then, he wrote the book that Jackie Brown is based off of, that Quentin Tarantino ended up directing. Quentin Tarantino was actually their first choice to direct this movie, and he turned it down. And the funny thing is that he's the one who convinced Travolta to take the role of Chili Palmer in this movie. So from what I've read, and take it however you want, because most of the info I pull is from like Wikipedia or IMDb, which is, of course, anyone can put anything on there. But originally, I guess, according to Barry Sonnenfeld, John Travolta was their first choice for Chili Palmer, even before his resurgence coming from Pulp Fiction. Travolta's offered the role. He turns it down, and Quentin Tarantino's like, no, this is the perfect role for you. This is the role that's going to then elevate you even more than what I was able to help you with Pulp Fiction. And it really did, because mid-90s Travolta was like my jam. That was like when I was introduced to Travolta, was like mid-90s. You have Pulp Fiction, you had Get Shorty, you had Face Off, you had Broken Arrow, you had like all those weird, like there was like, what was it, Phenomena? Was that one of them? Yeah. And then it was Michael.
I think was one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like even in the early 2000s, like I remember one, I think it was called Domestic Disturbance. I think it was him, Vince Vaughn, and I can't remember the actress's name, but like he had that mini resurgence in like the mid to late 90s. And that was where I was introduced to him. Of course, like my mom introduced me or showed me like Grease when I was little. And then as I got older, I was able to like go back and appreciate all of his older stuff, the stuff that really made him famous, like him working with De Palma and, Saturday Night Fever and, things that were going on in the 80s. And then he kind of like took a dive, and then Pulp Fiction brought him back up. So I enjoy Travolta, the actor, and that's where I'll leave it. It was produced by Danny DeVito, and the reason it was produced by Danny DeVito, because he actually owned the film rights to this movie. He was actually originally offered to play Chili Palmer, and he couldn't do it because he was in the middle of filming Matilda while this was being done. So he's like, what else do you have for me? I'll take a small role. And so that's when he got the Martin Weir role. And to be honest, it was perfect. He was perfectly cast for that. But yeah, he, I guess, was given the book, and he didn't end up reading the whole thing. And then the report was that he went back to Barry Sonnenfeld. He's like, so I bought the rights, or I bought Get Shorty. And he's like, oh, so you just bought the book? And he's like, no, I bought the rights. So like he was the one who kind of helped push it forward to then get the screen adaptation. And then later in 2018 or 2017, something around there, we got the TV show that MGM put out that had Ray Romano and God, I can't remember his name. He was in like Bridesmaids. He was in the IT. What's it? What was that show? The English show, like the IT team or something like that. I can't remember the actor's name. It's based on the same story, not the same characters though. Funny thing is that Ray Romano is in the show Get Shorty, and Gene Hackman was in the movie. And Gene Hackman's last movie before he retired was Welcome to Mooseport, which he starred alongside Ray Romano. So yeah, stars John Travolta as Chili Palmer, Gene Hackman as Harry Zim, Rene Russo as Karen Flores, Danny DeVito as Martin Weir, Dennis Farina, who, to be honest, and I will say it early on, Dennis Farina is the MVP of this movie. His performance is so fucking good. It makes me laugh. Listen, there are some very questionable lines that are said in this movie that are not okay, and I will state that early on. This movie was made in the mid-90s, so take it as you want. But Dennis Farina's character is hilarious. And it just the way that he performs everything that he does in this movie is fantastic. And the fact that he's not a main character and he is just outperforming some of the main people is just shows how legendary that man was. And we lost him way too soon. That man's been gone for like 12 years now, which is wild. I think the last thing I remember seeing him in was he played Jake Johnson's dad on New Girl, and he was really good in that. Delroy Lindo as Bo Catlett. James Gandolfini. James Gandolfini was in 2 movies with Gene Hackman in 1995, the other one being Crimson Tide.
Hey, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Guess what? Guess who's back? David Paymer. This is our 3rd movie where we've seen this man. First being Night of the Creeps from 1986, and then he was in No Holds Barred. That wonderful, oh boy, that movie. Oh man. Martin Ferrero's in this movie. Gennaro himself from Jurassic Park.
Yep.
I literally right off the rip. Miguel Sandoval is in this movie. We'll get to who he plays because I have questions. John Grease is in this. Most known probably as Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, but some people might know him as the werewolf or the Wolfman from Monster Squad.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
And there's a bunch of other people in this. So a lot of uncredited roles. Bette Midler, Harvey Keitel, Penny Marshall. Like there's a bunch of people in there. And of course, Barry Sonnenfeld makes his. He likes to do the Hitchcock, where he always has to make some like small cameo. Sometimes, like to be honest, I watched this movie 3 times. I wasn't paying attention at all, and I looked at the credits and it said he was the doorman. I went, when was there a doorman again? Like I missed it. I wasn't paying attention. The cinematography was done by Donald Peterman, who did movies such as Cocoon, Flashdance, Star Trek 4, Men in Black. So another Sonnenfeld regular. Music was done by John Lurie, who did music for Things. I'm looking at their movies that he's done. Don't recognize many or any of them. Oh, he did work Last Temptation of Christ, the Martin Scorsese film.
There you go.
Yeah, that's I don't know anything that he did. So, but hey, I like the music in this. Score is great. The release date, October 20th, 1995, ran at 105 minutes. Had a budget of $30 million and made $115.1 million at the box office, so did pretty well. It did warrant a sequel called Be Cool in 2005. I saw it in the theater, but don't ask me what I saw because I was in school and I brought a girl there. And that's all I'll say. I didn't watch the movie. There was no one in the theater.
Motorboat and Mayhem.
I don't remember it being very good. It was Rene Russo didn't come back. John Travolta comes back, of course, as Chili Palmer. Danny DeVito comes back as Martin Weir. I think those are the only 2. Harvey Keitel's in the movie as a different person, even though he's in this movie as himself, which is very weird. But it was one of the early movies with The Rock.
Yeah.
So I might rewatch it at some point because I don't know if I've actually seen this movie all the way through. But that's about it for that. I do have a couple behind the scenes stuff I want to mention before we actually jump into the plot. Fun fact, in the book, Harry Zim tells Chili Palmer that he wanted to cast Gene Hackman as the lead in his new film, and then Hackman would actually play him in the movie. I did mention the fact that Quentin Tarantino was originally slated to direct. Michael Keaton, Bruce Willis, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Dustin Hoffman were all offered to play Chili Palmer, and they all turned it down. And then there's a fact that I want to mention when we get to a certain part about an actor who was in another iconic movie, which is actually pretty cool when I read that little bit of info. What's going on, everybody? It is Parker here to tell you about an amazing event called Live Stream for the Cure. Since 2017, this event has raised over $100,000 for cancer research and to make the world immune to cancer. So join us Friday, May 16th from 4 p.m. to midnight and Saturday, May 17th from 8 a.m. to midnight as we try to raise money for an awesome cause. And if you want to see Dissect That Film and what they're going to be doing for their segment, make sure to join us on Saturday, May 17th at 12 p.m. for whatever shenanigans are about to happen. So please join us for another awesome year of live stream for The Cure, 9 years running. See you then. All right. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to hop into the plot of Get Shorty. Are you all ready to hop into the plot of Get Shorty?
Please.
Corey's like, please, today.
I got other podcasts to do.
All right, here we go. It is time to dissect that boom. So the movie opens up in Miami, and the first thing I go is, holy shit, is that Gennaro? With his cool accent. He's talking about how it's cold. It's going to be like 34 degrees. That's really cold. And Chili is distracted. He's looking across the street. And he's like, yo, what are you looking at? He's like, they're going to shut down the theater down the street. And I was going to see if Momo wanted to buy it so that I could maybe run it. And he's like, oh yeah, that would be great. Let's buy a theater to put movies in there no one's going to go see. While this is happening, there's 3 guys over at another table talking to each other, and they come over, and it's a funny joke to these guys, but for me, it's like super lame. Like my reaction is the same as Chili's, where friggin' Dennis Farina as Ray comes over, and he's like, hey, Chili, and it's Chili, and then they walk away. I was like, what the fuck was that?
I had a feeling there was more context to this than I was supposed to know, but I guess it's supposed to be like one of those, like, this is all shit that's happened before. It's not in the movie, but it's not relevant to the movie.
Well, yeah, because you kind of learn more of the fact that, like, Chili works for a guy named Momo, and Ray, played by Dennis Farina, works for a guy named Jimmy. Is it Jimmy Cap? I think that's
Jimmy Cap.
Yeah. And they're like, I don't know if they're rivals or they're just two dons of, a certain sect. And Ray just thinks he can do whatever he wants, even though Chili doesn't work for his boss.
Yeah.
And so pretty much how this movie kind of starts is Chili goes to leave the restaurant and he goes to get his jacket and his jacket's not there. The guys who work at the restaurant come over and they're just like, oh, what is Barboni? Mr. Barboni took your jacket because his jacket's missing. So we gave him this one. He's like, that's my jacket. My keys were in my jacket. I was like, and I'm thinking to myself like, oh, what? Because he needs a jacket. He just take it, whatever jacket he wants. Oh, well, he's a good customer. Right. And I was like, oh no, I'd be pissed too. So Chili goes to pay Mr. Barboni, or Ray Bones as he is called, a visit, and he goes upstairs. I just love the ride there where his friend Martin Ferrero, whose name is Tommy, he's literally like, just go in there, get your jacket and get out. Don't piss him off, because then Momo's gotta deal with it, and he's just gonna be annoying for him.
Jacket,
right?
Jacket.
And he's like, it's gonna be warm tomorrow, so why do you even need a jacket? So he goes upstairs. He's got his gloves on. He just cold cocks him right as he opens the door, takes his jacket, and I love Dennis Farina's reaction to getting punched in the face, because you can see the blood, coming out, and he's holding his he's like throwing a hissy fit. He's like stomping his feet. He's like, you break my nose.
I break my fucking nose.
And then it goes into the title. Yeah, he wanted his jacket, man.
What I love is we talked about that joke. It sets up Ray Bones as just being a total dickhead, because everybody knows that guy who walks up like, oh, it's chilly outside and it's chilly inside. That's not funny, but he's a dickhead, so he thinks it's funny, and his 2 cronies have to laugh along with him. You automatically get, just from that one interaction, this guy's a total fucking dickhead. And so that when he gets popped by Chili right in the nose and he's throwing a sissy fit, it makes it all the more satisfying. It's a great way to start a comedic gangster film, I thought.
Oh yeah, then it jumps right into the opening credits, which I really wish that opening credits were more creative. It's just words with some. The
music's good though.
The music's good. The music is the reason why you don't skip it. But when you watch it 3 times for an episode, you're like, okay, I don't need to watch the credits.
And they do all the credits, right? They're doing everybody, like costume
everybody.
designer.
Oh yeah. I like the good old days.
Yep.
So right after this, Ray goes to visit Chili, who works at a barbershop. Like he works in the back. I love the two. There's always the two old, barbers sitting in their chairs. And it's great because he walks in and he like tells them to shush. And then he's walking back and they're just like, uh-oh. And then they're just like, I love Travolta when he whips out that gun and instead of like aiming, your generic like aiming, he just props his arm up and leans into it, holding it there. Knowing exactly when he walks in, just the bullet just grazes his head. And oh my God, this is my favorite part with Dennis Farina is his reaction when he holds his head and he's like, call 911, call 911 as he's like running out of the place. It's so great because it just shows like this dude sucks. Like this guy's a little bitch, to be honest.
Shit. He just rides his title, like his position.
Yeah, but he knows.
And that's just it, right? Yeah, he's protected by Jimmy Cap, just like Chili is protected by Momo. They can't pop each other. Right, because they're owned by these mob bosses who have kind of a good working relationship, right? So Chili can't pop the guy, but he can for sure give him a nice little scar right on the top of his head.
Yep,
and he's just so cool. Like Travolta is so fucking cool in this movie. Mm-hmm. Just like you said, how he just kind of props his arm, like he does as soon as he hears the cough, he knows exactly what's happening. Ray Bones is here. I'm going to scare him off.
Yeah, because what's great about this is it goes right from this. This movie just goes. It does not give us a bunch of just like lull moments where we're just like waiting for something to happen. It literally jumps from the opening shot to him going to punch Ray in the mouth or in the nose to then you get this scene and then it goes straight to Ray talking to his boss, Jimmy Cap, who is played by Alex Rocco, who was in The Godfather. And
same scene,
same exact scene. Yes, he gets killed while getting a massage, which is why they decided to do it this way in this movie. But I love it. He's just like, I can't do anything, and he's like, he doesn't show me any respect. And he's like, no. He doesn't show you respect. Like this is your problem. And also, he is protected by Momo. So as long as Momo's around, you can't touch Chili. And he's just, he's like a child go running to his dad and telling him like, they're picking on me type thing. It's fantastic. But then, of course, this leads to us going back to Brooklyn and Momo is being brought to this building and you're thinking something's going to happen because, of course, he says nothing can happen to Chili when Momo with Momo around. So what is the next scene of Momo going to a surprise party and has a heart attack when they yell surprise and drops dead. And it's just, it's wonderfully done. It's so fluent. Everything is so well put together. And then of course this leads into kind of the whole plot of the movie. Like it then starts off with Ray showing back up to the barbershop. He says a derogatory joke to the two old guys I won't repeat on here. And he brings back up, he's got like a new bodyguard or something like that. And I just love, I love when the guy's like, yeah, you're going to respect him. He's Mr. Bones to you. And he's like, come on, you could do better than him, right? He's like, no, unless you, it's only helpful if you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But I love how the guy like goes out of character when he's explaining that to Chili. He's not like acting tough the whole time. Which
they both work. He understands. They're both in the same line. So, and
I love how nothing phases Chili. Like he is just like his name. It's like his namesake. Like he is just chill the whole time. And Travolta, like I said, 90s Travolta just was different. Okay, you have to respect how good Travolta was back then. So, my favorite thing is the fact that like you're seeing that Ray is an idiot. Like he's an absolute moron. He goes there and he gets Chili's book, which I just love that it's in just a generic notebook, like his numbers and all that. So he's like, you're missing one from a Leo. I can't remember what his last name was, but from DeVoe. You're missing some money there, so you need to go find it. And he's like, well, what happened to him? He's like, oh, he's dead. He's like, oh, well, did he tell you that? And he's like, yeah, Ray, he told me that. He's like, well, when you say it, he's like, oh yeah, he told me that he died in a plane crash. Like, what? And so then they're calculating. My favorite thing is when they're calculating the money because they're figuring out how much money he's got to get. And then you have Ray just sitting there trying to figure out what the extra number is. And he's like, it's 2,700.
Because it's the amount and then it's the interest or the VIG.
The VIG.
That's on the amount. Yeah. So he's got to try and figure out the VIG. And again, Ray's a dickhead. Doesn't know any better. Just, tough guy for the sake of being a tough guy. You really kind of get I love Dennis Farina in this movie. Like you said, he's the unsung hero. He's really the MVP of this film. And you really get, when we get into darker Ray Bones is when it gets really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I love these interactions with Travolta because Travolta's like, yeah, he told me he died. Yeah, he told me he was dead. He told me he had this money. He's just done with the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, you see two sides of Ray. The fact of anytime Ray's not around Chili, he's more of a tough guy. And when he's around Chili, he's very he tries to act tough. But of course, the way that Chili acts, he kind of is very standoffish. So he's like, I'm going to be tough. You got to do this for me, but I'm not going to fuck with you. All right.
But that's a very good point because he could totally be like, hey, you work under me now because Momo's dead. We now own you. I'm higher up in Jimmy Cap's organization than you are. He could really totally fuck with him, but he doesn't, does he?
No.
Because he's a little afraid of him, I think.
Oh, yeah. So he's got to go get the money. He's got to collect money from the dry cleaner, the dead dry cleaner. So he has to go visit his wife to try to get the money. And I love how she's trying to hit on him, and he's just has no interest at all.
Yeah, he's like, no.
Back to the scene though. Before, when we're still at the barbershop, one of my favorite things is the whole IEEG thing.
Yes.
He's like,
yeah.
It's IE is for example, he's like IEEG, fuck you. Oh man. So she pretty much tells him that he's in Vegas. So Chili has to go to Vegas to look for him. And he meets with a guy, which tells him that, oh no, he got kicked out because he slapped a waitress's ass. And so they kicked him out. He's like, oh, hey, since you're going to look for this guy, can you help us with this other dude? And he tells him he's like, yeah, it's this fucking moron named Harry Zim. He owes us 250, I think it was 250 G's. And I was like, damn, I'm just thinking to myself, what? That's a lot of money, man. And he's got to go.
And that's the change from the book too, because in the book, Chili finds Leo and then he gambles the money away, and that's why he kind of takes on the Harry Zim case. So I really like that change from the book to the movie, where he's just like, oh, by the way, if you're going to L.A., can you help me out with this Harry Zim guy? A very Elmore Leonard thing, right? Where you think you're going to start off nice and simple, and you branch off into a bunch of different areas, and it's all going to come together in the end. But I really like that change from the book, where I didn't like Chili gambling the money away, and I watched the movie before I read the book, so it's that was a really good change, I thought, from the book to the movie.
It's a lot more interesting.
It doesn't seem like his character to gamble the money away.
Exactly. Yeah,
exactly. That would have been very out of character. So he goes to LA, and when he gets there, my favorite thing is when we get to see the Cadillac of minivans, the Oldsmobile Silhouette, which I had as a kid. One of my dad's ex-girlfriends drove a gray one, and so I've had many experience in a Oldsmobile Silhouette.
Man, you got around movie theaters, Oldsmobiles. Jesus, where didn't you do it?
No, not it. I didn't do it in one of those. I said I was a kid. A lot of things like slamming my hand in the door, my head in the door. Accidents. No, none of that.
Oh, I thought you were motorboating again. I thought it was a theater situation.
Yeah, baby. And then, this is actually funny because we were sitting there and he gets off the boat and he's like, I ordered a Cadillac. This is a Cadillac of minivans. My wife's like, that's a Pontiac. I was like, it's not a Pontiac, I don't think. I couldn't tell because they all had Chevy, Pontiac.
Yeah, they all had vans.
That style van. Well, her Angela's sister used to have a Pontiac Transport, which is that same style.
Yeah, this one was the Oldsmobile Silhouette,
which was the nicest one you could get because Buick nor Cadillac didn't have one in their line. So that was the Cadillac of minivans. It was not wrong. It
was a nice van.
Yep.
It was cool though because it was like one of the first ones that had the sliding doors on both sides, where a lot of the original minivans only had it on the one side.
Yep, that's true.
So Chili meets with Harry in a very weird way. He just breaks into, it's not even his house. You find out it's Karen Flores' house.
Yeah.
like they're in bed with each other and you think they're together, but they're really not. Because you get this whole thing where she's there and she's like, Harry, wake up. I told you to sleep in the maid's room. And he's like, yeah, I did all that, whatever. He's like, I turned the TV off and the dog must have came in and turned it back on. She's like, I don't have a dog. Oh, what happened to Muffy? and he goes downstairs and Letterman's on the TV and he meets Chili, and my favorite thing is the look at me. He's like, I'm looking at you. Why do I have to look at you the whole time?
Well, and what happens in that scene, right? He mentions like the money he owes on his marker, but then it's like, I have an idea for a movie. And then all of a sudden the plot's taking a totally different turn now all of a sudden, right? Where Chili's like, screw all that other stuff. I got an idea for a movie.
So do the limo guys that we see later, Bo and Bear and stuff, do they work for that casino?
No, I think they're more into the drug trade.
Okay.
So yeah, they're doing that whole other side thing with Yayo. And then they also invest because Bo, I think, is a lot like Chili, where he wants, I like movies. I want to be a producer and be in movies. So they get invested with Harry in that way.
Yeah. I think it was just a film investment is all it was, unrelated to the casino.
Yeah. Okay. So Harry owes $250,000 to the casino and also owes like a similar amount to Bo.
Yes. Yeah. Big gambler, apparently. Not a very good one.
Well, all he has to do is provide the next film. That's all they're waiting on.
Right.
Is their cut from the film, because they're invested in whatever his next movie is going to be.
Yeah, they don't even care. Like if it's going to be Freaks or whatever. Like I don't care what piece of shit it is. We just want our points in whatever you do next.
I really want to watch all these fake movies that Harry made, like Grotesque and Grotesque 2. Like that just sounds like my jam. Or like the slime ones that she was mentioning later.
Slime people. You can see a poster in the background. It's an homage to the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
I want to watch.
I just love how he's like, that film Karen Flores is in was Grotesque Part 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she comes downstairs and they're talking about Chili's movie idea, which is about a guy who leaves an aircraft while there's like issues going on with it, and while he's at the bar drinking, he doesn't get back on the plane and the plane ends up crashing, and him and his wife kind of scheme together to get money out of it. So he fakes his death. She collects money. She sends the money to him, and then he's able to go gamble it away and all that stuff, and ends up winning a lot of money. And it's a whole thing where it's a story, but then no, it's real life. This was an actual thing that happened. Karen kind of blows the bubble there, but I love the fact that you have Harry, who's you can tell why he is a small time director or a producer or whatever he is, because Chili mentions earlier, like the thing he says, he's like, I have an idea for a movie, and then explains this plot. And then at the end, he's like, yeah, well, that's all I have right now. And he's like, oh, that's it. Well, you can't, like, that's like 40 minutes of screen time. And it's like, he's like, I said I had an idea for a movie. And like Harry's getting like offended, like he wasted his time. It's like he said idea, man. Like that's
not
how this works. Like, do you think he was just gonna come in with a script, be like, I have a movie we've never met before. Here you go. Like, no. It's just,
and there's Karen, who's probably the smartest person in the entire film. Like, oh my God, Harry, he's the Shylock. This is real.
He's the protagonist.
Yep.
But
we show a backstory. Like we're going to do a backstory on the dry cleaner, and Chili's like, I don't know about all his backstory stuff. That was just added. It's terrible.
My favorite though is while the story's being told, we see David Paymer, who's playing the guy who fakes his death. His name is Leo, but I love his wife, when she comes in and she finds his head. She's like, my Leo, my Leo,
oh my Leo.
And I just love the guy who's like standing next to her, like, what the fuck is this bitch doing?
Did you know for the airline edit they changed it to a train crash because they didn't want a plane crash being shown on film while you're watching it on a plane?
I mean, I get it. I get it.
Which actually happened to me in real life. I was on a plane with my wife. We're going to our honeymoon in Ontario, Canada. We're from Saskatchewan, and on the little monitor there's a story about a crash happening at the exact airport we were at. So I'm watching a news story, and I can see the flames out my window, and I'm like, well, this is kind of eerie. Do I want to take off on this plane to go to Ontario, but we made it safely. Spoiler
What are
alert.
the odds? What are the odds? Twice at one location.
It's like, when I go on a plane, I'm like, what do I want to watch today? I want to watch Final Destination.
Turbulence.
Perfect.
Turbulence, good one.
Passenger 57.
No, Con Air. Air Force One. Come on, dude.
Air Force One, that's my go-to. Yeah.
Oh, God, Air Force One's great. So, where am I here? So Karen comes in. Yeah, she meets Chili. And, yeah, we get all that stuff. She kicks him out. You find out that Harry doesn't live here. Because originally you think this is Harry's house. Like, you don't know. You don't know, like, his situation. Then you find out it's Karen's. So we're at an airport, and there is a trade-off going on. So you see Delroy Lindo as Bo, and you see James Gandolfini, who plays a guy named Bear. He's got like a little girl with him. And then this guy shows up. He drops his ticket. They kind of do like this weird exchange. And then you get this thing where like the guy comes up looking for the money. He's like, sit down, and he's like, no, you're supposed to give me the money right now. And he's like, all right, I'm going to give you this key. I'm going to get up. You're going to sit there, and then you're going to get this key. You're going to go get it out of that locker. And he's like pointing out the fact that there's like DEA agents all over the place. So he's trying to get this guy to get the money out of the locker so they get busted. So he gets busted. And this guy is just all over the place. He's flipping out about everything because he's expecting it to be super simple. And it turns out not to be.
Oh, can we give a shout out to him, by the way?
Yayo?
No, not Yayo.
Jacob
Sorry,
Vargas?
he could be something cool. No, Delroy Lindo.
Oh, Delroy Lindo is great.
He was just because we have talked about the original, but he is Detective Roland in the Gone in 60 Seconds remake.
Yes.
And the famous Cadillac scene, it's loaded, but they don't use that line. But he's like, rev on this 80s Cadillac, Anyway.
What I love is that he plays him a little more pathetic than I know Samuel L. Jackson was the original choice for this role. I think he would have been way too cool. You kind of expect him to be kind of almost like Chili's equal, but he's a little too into the movies, right? Where he's making mistakes. Chili Palmer doesn't make mistakes, whereas Bo makes a ton of them. And not in this scene here where we're talking with Yayo. He's pointing out like, oh, just look for the bulge, bottom of their pant leg, right? And then Yayo seeing bulges everywhere. 10-year-old kid, he's seeing a bulge on his leg and shit. But he's not quite up to the Chili Palmer level, which I think is really important.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, like everything, kind of like when it gets to the Hollywood side, is kind of a farce almost. It's like the Hollywood version of it, because Delroy probably knows most of his stuff from movies in Hollywood. That's why he's not a professional like Chili, and he hires a fucking stuntman for his bodyguard.
Exactly.
That was your key. That's your key right there, man.
I mean, Chili points it out throughout the entire movie. The fact is like, this is how you do business here. Like, you guys are idiots.
not to say Bo will not fucking kill somebody. He will do it. Like, just like earlier, we were talking about Bones. Like, he's a fucking idiot, but he still knows what he's doing when it comes to icing people if he's got to. So,
100%. Yeah, the parallel between Bones and Bo is right there. Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, Bo is his own worst enemy. Like, he causes his own downfall.
Yeah.
Yep, he does. He even suggests the idea of Jesus. Yeah, he does. He really does.
Dan, do you know what else Delroy Lindo's done? What iconic line that he has performed in a movie? We haven't covered the movie yet, but touch my sesame cakes.
Oh, that's him? Oh,
that's
son
him.
of a bitch.
From Congo.
Stop eating the sesame cake.
Stop eating the sesame cakes.
God, I can't wait till we do that movie. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Then you also meet Ronnie, who's, I just put Uncle Rico in my notes. He's part of the group. I love, so Harry and Chili, they're driving down. I'm guessing this
before we get there, can we talk about how bad of a parent Bear is? Like, why is he bringing his little girl to these drops? Like, we're Brett, especially, like, we're parents. Are you going to bring your kid to any sort of illegal activity? It's like, no. Grab your coat. We're going to a cockfight. Like, no.
I mean, no, I wouldn't. Clearly, this is his weekend to have her, and he's got to make. Sometimes I guess you got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
Did you say? Wait. What kind of fight?
Cockfight.
Yeah, well, see, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm not going to get too specific. There's a county around these parts called Cock County, and it's famous for cockfighting.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Harry and Chili are driving down. I'm guessing this is Sunset Boulevard. I don't know what this is. One of the main streets in LA. And I love that passing the billboard for Napoleon starring Martin Weir. So it's and the funny thing is, why wasn't this an actual thing? Why didn't they make Danny DeVito into Napoleon? He was literally probably the same size as the real Napoleon.
People in LA thought it was a real thing.
Yes, they
that
did.
billboard was up for like a month while they were shooting this.
They thought Danny DeVito changed his name.
Like, I don't know who Martin Weir is, but Danny DeVito is Napoleon. That's perfect.
Perfect. When is that coming out?
That's funny.
Oh, man. So, yeah, he talks about this script that his old writing partner had. And unfortunately, his writing partner died of a heart attack. And so his widow got it appraised or something, or somebody told her like how valuable the script was. And so
an executive at Paramount told her that she could get, especially if Martin Weir is interested, you can get $500,000 for it.
Yeah. So literally, she's giving Harry the opportunity to get it, but he's got to come up with the money. And I love the whole thing where he's like, okay, we'll just have to try to figure something out. He's like, or we could just get rid of the widow, Saffron. And she's like, I'm not whacking anybody. But they stop.
Perhaps an accident could befall the widow Saffron.
Oh, man. It's so great seeing Gene Hackman doing a role like this where he's showing his comedic chops, because he was very hesitant about taking this role because he didn't do comedy. Like it wasn't something he would normally do. And Barry Sonnenfeld was like, no, that's perfect. We want you to play it straight, and people can kind of determine if it's funny or not, like what you're doing. And to be honest, he does a great job at playing a straight man, you know, it to the point where, you know, it's things are happening to him that are funny, but not really funny to the character. Like he's not like cracking jokes all the time and doing like your normal comedic banter. He's like, it's the actions of his character that are funny.
It's my favorite brand of comedy when you get these guys playing it straight. That's why I love Zucker Brothers movies like Airplane and Top Secret and Naked Gun, because you have Leslie Nielsen playing it 100% straight. When he does shit like Spy Hard, where he's like making faces and doing jokes, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. But when you have the straight, you know, he's playing it straight. And playing it playing it serious is what makes it so damn funny. And that's why Gene Hackman was hilarious in this role. Because, yeah, like you said, I'm not a funny guy. I don't want to do comedy. I don't want to do, like, you know, the whole Jim Carrey fucking shtick. But you play it straight and let the situation be funny. And if you play it straight, it makes it even funnier. And he did it amazingly well.
Yeah, because this is also, you know, watching Gene Hackman in this movie, you're seeing things that you've really never seen him do ever. You know, in his long career, you know, you think back of his iconic roles in like French Connection, The Conversationalist, and
even think of his other movie in 1995.
Exactly, complete opposite.
With, you know, think of the scenes with him and Denzel Washington in Crimson Tide versus the scenes where the investors come in and Chili's like, make sure they sit here, make sure you don't say a fucking word. I'm doing all the talking. And what does he do? He completely falls apart.
Oh, I have it right here. I have the script right here. Like, don't tell him I'm Mr. Lovejoy.
I'm just sitting here thinking of Gene Hackman and ants. I know I mentioned that last time, but it's like General Mandible.
He's fucking great in Ants.
He is, isn't he?
So, yeah, Corey just went over the next scene, so we don't need to talk about that much. But no, it's fine. It's completely fine. Don't apologize.
I saw that fucking.
Thank you.
I saw that fucking fridge, Corey.
Oh, yeah.
I seen that shit. He opened it. I was like, bam.
Wilson Canadian. That's right.
That's what I do. I'm just sitting here eating cheese balls anyway.
The funny thing that a lot of people may not notice is the fact that Chili really never reads the script. He just goes, oh, this is great. But really never reads it. He just kind of flips through it and then throws it back down and kind of does
like an executive. Yeah, it needs a new title. That's all I know.
Yeah, which is what he explains to Bo later about the fact, like, well, do you like the script? And he picks it up again. He's like looks through it like he's never seen it before. And the first thing he noted is, opens it to the title. He's like, oh, well, that's what we need to do. First thing is change the title of the movie.
Well, he says the same thing to his buddy, Tommy Gennaro, when he calls him. And he's like, what do you know about making movies? He's like, producers don't really know anything. They just provide money or they just pay for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't do much.
Yeah.
But I just love the demeanor of Harry. Like at first when Chili tells him like, hey, I think your investors are here. The limo guys are here. He's like freaking out. He's like shutting the blinds and he's like trying to hide. And he's like, no. You gotta do it this way. You gotta throw them off. And that was the whole thing. It's like, I'm gonna sit at your desk. You're gonna sit behind them. You know, you're not gonna mention anything about Mr. Lovejoy. You're not gonna introduce me, which is the first thing that he does when they walk through the door. It's like, oh, this is Chili Palmer, my associate. And I just love that Travolta says nothing. He just kind of goes. He doesn't even make noise. He just like looks down, like son of a bitch. Like I told you. And I love when. You know, they're very confused because he's like, yeah, you're going to tell them you're not doing the movie you told them you're going to do. You're going to hold that off. You're going to do a different movie and then you'll get back to it. And then he's trying to like dance around the whole thing. He's like, eventually I'm going to do it. I'm going to do your movie. I swear. I'm just going to do this one first. So I'm going to put that one on the back burner. And I love when Ronnie's just like, well, what's that other movie? And he's like, hey, listen, who am I talking to?
Yeah.
He's like, Harry's not doing your movie right now, so the other movie is none of your fucking business.
Yeah.
And I just love
movie, Freaks. It was called Freaks, right? Yeah. You worry about Freaks. The other movie doesn't fucking matter. None of your fucking concern.
But as soon as Chili says that, he's like, no, I got a script right here, and he shows him Mr. Lovejoy, which then Bo is like super into, and he's like, I want to be a part of it, and Harry's like, no, we're not doing that, and Chili kind of backs him up. And this is when Bo's obsession over this script and wanting to be a part of the movie starts, right? Because, he was just a limo guy. He was just a dude who was in charge of whatever group he runs with these guys. But now he's like super invested. He's like, this guy told me no. So now I want it even more.
And that's where you get the impression that Bo is not on the level of Chili Palmer. Because when he's dealing with Yayo at the airport, he's pretty suave. He's pretty cool, right? There's your money. It's in the locker. You just go get it. But watch out for these guys with the bulges. But in the office, that's when you get like, he's like so gung-ho, but we'll just take our points out of Freaks and put in this other thing.
Yep.
And Chili's like, no, that's not your fucking deal. And you could see him kind of getting desperate. Like he just wants to be part of this whole movie environment so bad. He doesn't even care where his points are put. And that's your first indication, like he's not on the level of Chili Palmer.
Yeah, because you could see it in his face. Like he doesn't know what to do.
They thought it was a gay porn, right? This Mr. Lover
That's what
Boy.
Ronnie said. Yeah. He's like, yeah, lover boy. So Chili goes back to Karen's, breaks in again, and she's like,
"You left your patio door open."
Yeah, it's just open. Yeah.
She comes in. She's wearing this awful wig. She's like, yeah, I've been crawling out of a grave for 6 hours. It's like the director said that I'm not protruding that energy that he needs for that scene.
Yeah. So, I couldn't find the emotional core of the character or something like that.
Yes.
Oh, and it's funny how comfortable she gets though with Chili there. Like as soon as they kind of have their conversation about like how he got in and all that, and then it's just like then she starts explaining her work and like how she doesn't really enjoy what she's doing right now. She wants to get back into something that she wants to do something that's meaningful. She wants to have a memorable line, and of course they're able to like quote a movie together because you find out Chili he's a cinephile. Like he really likes movies. I think that's the one gripe about this movie that I have is like, other than the scene that's coming up with Chili at the theater, you don't really get that cinephile feeling from Chili. Like he really doesn't put any of that out there until that scene. And even after that scene, you don't see it again. Like,
I would disagree with that because he mentions like, okay, that dialogue's from Rio Bravo, not from like there are quite a few moments where he points out like, he's watched these movies before. Like even when we're jumping way ahead, but he's like in bed and she's like, I hear the TV going. He's like, oh yeah, that's Rio Bravo.
Yeah. It's not Letterman, it's Rio Bravo. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And he does do the subtle, and I think it's to set his character up, is the subtle mention about the theater closing. And then even then we talk about Gene Hackman's character Zim, he mentions like a shit ton of his movies or movies that Karen Flores is in. So he knows of his work, he knows of her work, so he's fairly knowledgeable. But I don't know. Maybe it's not as on the nose until this point.
All right. I guess you proved me wrong.
He maybe doesn't host a podcast about movies, but
he would. He would.
100%,
That motherfucker
100%.
would if it was no.
And it would be fucking great.
Yep.
Probably way better than this one. So,
Or mine.
oh man. So, yeah, he calls up Tommy, and Tommy's very confused. He's like, "What the fuck you know about movies?"
Yes, that's it. That's what it happens.
Like, the producer doesn't have to do much.
Oh man. And he tells Karen about the Mr. Lovejoy script, which she's like, "Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard it exists. So maybe at some point." And then he's like, "Oh, lastly, Touch of Evil is playing down at the local theater. So, I was thinking about going down there. If you want to go watch Charlton Heston play a Mexican." I'm like, "Yep." Things like that have been happening for a long time.
Yep.
But there's the cinephile again, because what's he doing in the theater, right? He's reciting the lines
He's
back to
reciting
the
the
movie.
lines. Yeah.
And he's like
Fine,
a fucking
prove me
8-year-old.
wrong, guys. Jeez. No, it's fine. That's the point of this. So, listen, we don't hit women. All right? We don't hit women. It's not acceptable. But I will admit I laughed out loud at this next scene.
A lot of folks did. And I remember Barry Sonnenfeld, they asked him, like, why do you have Ray hitting a woman? And he said, because at this point, I wanted to wake the audience up a little bit.
Mhm.
And at this point, Ray was a clown, right? He was the clown who got his nose broke and got shot in the forehead and stuff like that. You got to kind of make him a threat. So this scene that you're going to describe right now makes him a threat.
Makes him a threat, but it also shows that he's a bitch. Like, he's still a bitch.
Exactly.
Like, he's gonna go up and cold cock a woman, a defenseless woman
exactly.
because he's not getting what he wants. But it was one of those moments where I've seen this movie plenty of times, but I hadn't seen it in a while. And when he walks up and he's like, "Hi, I'm Ray, I'm a friend of Chili Palmer's. Have you seen him around lately?" As he talked about I love it. He's just like, have you seen Chili Palmer since your husband just blew up?
I love that line. Yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, a couple times." He's like, "Oh, what you talk about?" She's like, "Oh, nothing really." And he's like, "Oh, okay." God, right in the face. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, he fucking blasts her. But it was like, it's one of those things where it's one of those like uncomfortable laughs when you're watching it. You're like, "Oh my God, holy shit!"
Because it's shocking.
Yeah,
you don't expect it. Yeah.
And of course he's got her. He's like, I feel like we're friends, and friends don't hit friends. So, you're going to tell me what I need to know, type thing. And I was like, God damn. But, and it shows like that Ray can't be this tough guy around people who are his equal or above him. He's got to do it to people who can't really defend themselves. And that's why he'll do it to this person. He does. And then when we see him later with Harry and what he does to Harry, because like Harry's not a fighter. Right. So, it just shows like Ray sucks. Like, Ray's a piece of shit, but man, Dennis Farina plays him so well and is just, sells every scene that we get to see him in.
It's a great way to separate Chili from Ray, because in a lot of ways they're similar, right? They were the top guys in their different organizations.
Yep.
But Chili does business one way, Ray does business another way. So your protagonist versus your antagonist. Very clearly drawn out. One might have been wearing a white hat, the other one a black hat.
Exactly. Chili goes back to Vegas and finds Leo. And I'm just like, he's like, "Leo, I knew you were an idiot. But like, you're gonna leave $300,000 just in a closet." He's like, "Where else was I supposed to put it?"
With a blanket over it. He did put a blanket over it.
David Paymer's voice in this is comical. It is all over the place pitch wise. He's like, "Where did you expect me to put it?" And I love when he tries to act tough when he leaves. He's like, "I'm going to like when the best is when he's trying to explain
80% bullshit. Yeah, you owe me."
It's like you listen. It's like, just like runs away. But my favorite is he's trying to explain to him like the rate of like what he's taking from him, and Yeah, with 18% interest. And he's like, so you're taking all of my money and borrowing some? Like, he's very confused. Pretty much it's just like, no, I'm taking all your money.
Yeah. I just like he's like, I'll take the 300,000. I'm gonna take like what 10, 15, however. I'm gonna borrow this from you. Don't ask me fucking questions. And he just keeps going. It's like he said,
and his face is just like, oh,
yeah. You owe me $3 bills a week. And then Chili just turns around and he's like, oh.
Yeah. That's what I just love how it just sets Chili up. Like, again, he's a professional, but he's not a piece of shit. Like, he's like, this is what I'm taking to return for your debt. This amount I'm borrowing from you, I will pay you back with the interest because he's a professional.
I love it.
18% in 1995. That's a pretty good interest rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, that's what you get on a basic credit card. But back in 95, like,
yeah,
he's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite, though, is when he's leaving and he's just like, well, you're not going to know where I am. I don't even know where I'm going to be. And he's like, don't worry, Leo. I'll find you. You leave a trail like a fucking caterpillar. Some of these lines are so good.
Well, and that's the big thing with Elmore Leonard, right? That you read his novels, right? It's all about the dialogue. And that was one thing Scott Frank and Barry Sonnenfeld were very much about. We have to maintain the dialogue because that is so rich in an Elmore Leonard novel. And that's one thing. The most successful Elmore Leonard adaptations preserve his dialogue. And that moment is a great example of Elmore Leonard at his best.
Yeah, I guess Travolta was a big advocate, too, about keeping the dialogue from the book. Because they were going to really tone down a lot of the dialogue because there was some colorful language in there that, is still, it trickled into this movie. And when you hear it, you're like, oh, yeah, it's 95. Let's relax. Like,
well, we say that, but then there's movies that are still made nowadays that people are just pieces of shit and they say that. And it's just part of how they do it. That's it.
I'm talking about when a character you're supposed to like says something that's questionable, like something that Chili will say
I know
in a later scene where you're like, oh, so am I not supposed to like Chili because of that line? Like, it's one of those things that kind of makes you question certain things, at least for me. I don't know.
That's fair.
I understand. It's a script. So where am I here? So Bo goes to Harry's office and he makes a proposition to work with Chili. He's like, listen, me and you could work together. We could rewrite a script and make this better and all that. And I love that Chili is like kind of into it. Like he's trying to like bait him in to the point where he's just like, all right, well, I got all this. Well, what the fuck do I need you for? And it just leaves him kind of like shook. He's just sitting in that chair, just staring like, I'm going to fucking kill this guy. I fucking hate this guy. This guy sucks so much.
Because he's so excited. Right? Oh, we got to change the title. We got to change the ending. But, all we got to do is, put the commas in the right place and shit like that. And Chili's like, oh, really? Is that all we need to do? It's that easy? Then why the fuck do I need you? And you just see like all the blood drain out of Bo's face. Like,
my God.
I'm offering you my services. And Chili's like, I don't fucking care.
It's great. So Chili goes to the movies. This is where he goes to see Touch of Evil, which is an Orson Welles movie starring Charlton Heston. The funny thing is that the title Get Shorty. Shorty was actually I think it was either Orson Welles' agent or it was somebody associated with Orson Welles. That's where the Shorty name came from.
Oh.
And in the line in the movie too says the name of the name of the movie is mentioned in the movie.
Yes,
but I think that was where the title Get Shorty came from. Was the Shorty part was like a nickname of somebody who was associated with Orson Welles. It was either his agent or a friend of his or something like that. Yeah, Karen goes there. She watches him recite the lines to the movie. She's very impressed and kind of you start seeing something in her eyes. You start seeing her kind of respect him more and see him in a different light than just a dude who broke into my house twice.
Yes.
He's honest.
Yeah.
He's like one of the most honest characters in the movie. Like he loves movies and he gives that impression away the first time they meet. Right. And she's like, as if he's going to like fucking go to Touch of Evil and invite me to it and be that into that movie. Like, and he's like, oh, I love this, scene you had in Grotesque Part 2 or whatever.
You saw
and
that?
Talking about her scream and stuff. And there she is and she's watching him. And you see that just love of film in his eyes. which I can't believe you didn't think he was a cinephile watching this movie.
I know.
Jesus,
I'm just going to cut
what
that
the
out.
hell's wrong
Okay?
with
I'm
you?
going to sound like a fucking moron.
No,
Dan got it. I got it. I'm sure Angela
Stop
got
it,
too.
okay? I didn't say I was a
sorry.
smart person. I watched this movie 3 times.
listen. Parker's listened to my show, and I actually was editing my podcast before this for Magic, and there's like times where I'm like, it's this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, ... Oh, no, it's this. I do it like 2 or 3 times this episode. Like, I'm leaving it in. It feels natural.
Listen,
I'm an idiot. I don't know what's going on.
the patrons will hear it, okay? And
Fair,
then
that's
I'll
fair,
cut
that's
it
fair.
out. And the only people that'll know that I said it are the people on the show and the patrons. All right. So you can.
So I shouldn't bring it up on any one of my number of shows.
If you want to throw me under the bus, go for it, Corey. Make me look like an
I would
idiot.
never. I would never.
Oh man. So yeah, she mentions to him like, I don't want to act in this. I want to produce. And he's like, all right. That sounds. I think you'd be good at it. So let's work something out. So we're then back with Yayo. He's at the airport, and this is something that Corey mentioned earlier, was the fact that Bo mentions to him about looking for the bulge. And my favorite thing is him staring at the locker, and then he just keeps turning and seeing different random people around the airport with bulges on their legs. It's like you said, there was a kid with a yo-yo, and it was like an old lady and stuff like that. And then immediately this cuts to him back at Bo's place, and he's complaining. He's like, I was just staying at the airport, and I'm just looking at everybody's bulges all over the place. It's like, what the fuck?
I think he learned something about himself that day.
He sure
I think
did.
so.
And he's getting pissed, and he's like, Yayo, get off my $70 per yard rug
Ugh.
with your cigarette.
I'd hate to clean that shit.
And
What a nightmare, huh?
oh my god,
Probably fucking wool, dude. Wool sucks. Do not. There you go. There you go. Listen, don't buy wool for your house. It stinks like shit when it gets wet because it's a natural fiber, so it smells like a wet dog. And whenever it gets stains, it's stain resistant, but it's a bitch and a half to get out, and it sheds its whole fucking life.
Have you ever thought about doing a podcast just about like cleaning shit? Because I would listen to that every week. I find that just endlessly fascinating.
I literally just did a podcast. Good lord! I literally just did a class on microbial remediation like 2 weeks ago. Mildew and mold are the same thing. Don't let anybody fucking tell you different. And black mold is not real. When mold turns black, it's sporulating, which means it's letting spores loose. No mold is good. There's not like a deadly mold of like all the molds. So just letting you know, that's a buzzword made by the CDC.
I have learned nothing about this movie, but I've learned tons about mold. This is amazing.
There you go.
I love this
There you go.
podcast.
wow.
It's just like it's one of those things that you just do every day, so you don't think nothing about it. So I don't know.
Corey
thank you for that.
Corey faked his excitement to be on the show just to internally destroy it.
I was
No,
secretly
he's like-
hoping I would learn more about mold.
No, he's here to learn about carpet care facts. So he's like, I don't have to pay anybody to clean my floors anymore. I'm gonna learn all the inside
That's
shit
right.
from Dan.
And that carpet is important in the movie, like you said.
It is.
It
Yeah, how
is.
many times is
It
Bo's
is.
like, get that fucker, he better not puke on my carpet, or he better not bleed on
Yeah.
my carpet. Like,
Yeah, he did multiple times. He does.
yeah.
So Yayo, he's complaining. He's trying to be he's acting like a tough guy. He's like, yeah, that's how you do business around here. And Bo's like, I'll be right back. He leaves, comes back out with a gun in his hand. He's just like, what are you gonna do with that? And he fucking shoots him. He just shoots him
just
right in the
ices him.
chest. Flies over and hit both him and Bear. Walk over to the railing. He's like, it would be a great idea if someone messed with the railings and I got Chili Palmer up here and did the same thing. And I just love Bear going, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
See, this is when we talk about him being so into the cinematic side because he kills the dude, and the first thing he thinks of is how it would look better in a film.
Yeah, because he's like,
And it's
I want to be in the movies. Like, what's the point of living in LA if you're not in the movie business? Like, that's
And
his
it shows
next
that-
thought after murdering someone.
Yeah,
And he's not that smart as a gangster because
No.
he's got to know there's consequences to blowing away this kid who is looking for his money, right? Like whoever that money is owed to is going to come looking for him. So it's not
Yeah.
a smart move. That's how blind he is by this whole movie thing.
So Chili and Karen, they go to visit Martin, and Martin is this just over the top like betrayal of an actor. I guess this was
Met that actor.
yeah. I guess this character was based on Elmore Leonard's experience with Dustin Hoffman.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh,
which I believe based on a lot of the stories I've heard about Dustin Hoffman.
Well, very much a method actor too, right? Everyone knows the Marathon Man story. So.
God, listen, you want to like get into your roles, you want to like, you know, go above and beyond, but like, don't be an asshole. Like, I don't know. I know that like Daniel Day-Lewis is a method actor, like very much. He's like when people think about method actors, they think of Daniel Day-Lewis, but like, I don't know if I've heard like bad things about him while making the movies. I know like he would always stay in the character he was portraying.
Yep.
But it was never to a degree of like Jared Leto, for instance. Or,
like Daniel Day-Lewis on Lincoln, I don't think ever told people they had to refer to him as Mr. President. They just did because he stayed in character. It's not something he demanded. The fact that people like Jared Leto or Dustin Hoffman like demand, like, you have to refer to me as this, like, don't speak to me as Dustin Hoffman, speak to me as so-and-so and all that shit is what makes them assholes. Whereas Daniel Day-Lewis is just in the moment and everyone's like just respectful of that.
I figured if you could take the time out to tell people to refer to you as your character, you're not in it deep enough, or your method acting may be slightly questionable.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Now, I don't know anything about it, so that's my opinion on the matter.
Yeah.
By the way, for the rest of the podcast, you have to refer to me as Mark Meyer. I'm going to channel my inner Mark Meyer on, and the podcast will rock. So I'm going to be more like him.
All right, Mark.
No. That's good.
So they go visit Martin, and I love that he notices the van. He's like, "What is that?" It's like, that's the Cadillac minivan. He's like, "Can I take it for a spin?" But they're inside and they're talking about like the role and stuff, and Chili's trying to like get him to, you know, how would you do this role? And he's like trying to make faces and stuff to look intimidating. He's like, what are you, like, sleepy? Like what are you trying to, like, you want to go to sleep? Like, what are you trying to do here? Like,
it's a good scene.
But we get the line from Chili, which is the questionable, like, out of date line about, because one of the movies, Martin Weir played a gay guy who, like, was it a gay guy who like climbed a mountain? Yeah.
I think so.
And,
I can't remember which mountain, but it was
But Chili says, like, you know, you portrayed, I'm not going to say the word, but you portrayed a gay man, and I hope I never have to meet one. And I was like, why? Such a weird line. Like, it's just weird.
It's just how some people are. It's I get it. But...
I mean, I guess when you're young, like you're a kid, you kind of like, especially if you don't know what the word means, you kind of just go by it like, oh, I don't know what that means, so I don't really care. But like knowing what it means, you're like, ooh, that's, especially for this character who you've kind of grown to love. And then he says something like that, and it kind of, for me, it was like, ooh, am I supposed to not like him anymore?
I always kind of thought, because Chili Palmer is based on a real mobster.
Yes.
Named Chili Palmer, right? So maybe that was more of a trait of the real Chili Palmer that they just kind of carried over into the novel and then into the movie.
Well, I mean, it was, you know, discriminatory lingo. I mean, it's not anything that, like, especially like in that line of business, yeah, there's going to be people that are more noble than others, but fucking people say this shit all the time. Like, whether they mean it or not, whether they understand the connotations or not, it's just something that they do. And like I said, I'm not excusing them for it. It's just, I don't know. I guess I don't look that far into it. I've heard it from all types. So it's just like, whatever, it's how they talk.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna like flip my table and be like, I'm never watching Get Shorty again because of this one line. It's just, you know, it's something I felt like needed to be mentioned and you know, discussed a little bit. And you know, there'd be the people out there like, shut up, woke. Fucking people who don't even know what the word means. So yeah, I love it. The whole thing between them, kind of getting Martin to kind of bring out his inner gangster and the whole thing like that. And we're also seeing Harry meet up with Bo, and they're like, hey, we'll give you $500,000 if you do Mr. Lovejoy with us. And Harry's like thinking about it because he gets told by Bo, he's like, Chili has the $300,000 from that dry cleaner, and he's not giving you any of it. And so they're kind of like manipulating Harry, who is very easily manipulative. So it's things start cooking in his head. So Martin's on board to a degree, but Bo manipulates Harry to turn against Chili. He is going to use Harry to get the money bag from the airport. That was kind of the whole kind of plan, was like, okay, we got Harry on board. We're going to give him the key, but we also don't want him to do it. We want him to give it to Chili to kind of get Chili out of the situation, because they know whoever gets that bag is going to get busted, because they know that the DEA agents are there. So Chili agrees to do it, but like Harry's all bent out of shape about everything. And, you get the whole thing where he's going to hand him the key and he drops it into the glass.
Yeah. But how does Chili say it too? He says, if everything looks good, I'll get the money. So he's already knows, okay, I'm being set up, right? There's going to be something happening at the airport. If everything's copacetic, I'll get the money. But if not, it's not happening. And we have that great scene at the airport then with Chili, noticing the bulges, if you will, and realizing that the situation's going south.
I forgot to mention, though, the fact that Chili has an interaction with Bear and Bo, like they're like intersecting at that restaurant. And Bear, he talks about Bear being a former stuntman and all that stuff. And Bear tries to be tough. He's like, I think it's time for you to pack up and go back to, Miami or Brooklyn or wherever he said he was going. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're a stuntman? He's like, how good are you? And he literally just like grabs him by the crotch and just tosses him down the stairs. It's so good. And then he pretty much stands up to Bo and pretty much tells him how it is. He's like, I'm just going to walk right by you because I could beat the shit out of you if I really wanted to. Like, I could end you. And Bo's is like, yep, all right. Good to see you, Chili. Gonna go.
What does it say after he throws Bo down the stairs, or a Bear down the stairs? He's like, man, that's pretty good for a guy his size. Like,
yeah.
He was impressed.
And Bo's like, what the? I love Bear's reaction, though. He just kind of looks up like, what the fuck did you just do? So, yeah, Chili goes to the airport. He notices there are people there, right? He passes by the one guy that you'll see in a little bit. And so he comes up with a plan where he is going to pack a bag full of stuff and put it in the locker next to that locker. And he pays a kid like $10 to go throw it in there. Every magazine and book in the shop has Martin Weir on it. And even on the Playboy, it says there's a interview with Martin Weir.
Well done. Well done.
So yeah, Chili gets busted because the DEA agents think that he opened the locker they've been looking for. They, search it. There's nothing in there but like books and stuff. And he's free to go. He makes up like a whole story about how his ex-wife was supposed to like reunite with him and she never showed up again and all that to kind of clear him. And then he leaves. So
but what does he do? He even makes the DEA agents seem like idiots, right?
Yeah. So maybe next time you get the right guy.
Exactly. You'll get the right fucking guy.
Oh my God. We're back with Ray. He's taking a shit. He's just trying to enjoy himself. He's trying to enjoy that quality time with the porcelain throne. He's reading Martin Weir's book and he's mouthing every word because he clearly has a hard time reading. The phone's ringing, and you get the whole thing's like, oh man, the worst. I'd be like, fuck. This is 95. There's no like, did you not have an answering machine? Because I just let that shit. They're like, nope, the answering machine's gonna get it. I'll get it later. But yeah, he like he just like walks out of the thing. He, answers the phone, and who's on the other end? But Harry. But he doesn't introduce himself as Harry. He just talks like somebody else. He's trying to act like a tough guy. He's like
Chili.
Yeah, pretty
I'm
much.
the one telling you how it is.
Yep.
That's what Chili says. Yeah.
And
Chili told him, do not call Ray Bones. You don't want that kind of shit in your life, or do not call him. What does Harry do? He fucking calls.
He does everything against what Chili tells him, because he literally is like, oh, maybe I should call this, this Ray Bones guy. Maybe he'll want to put some money into my movie. And he's like, nah, not Ray Bones. He's not a movie guy.
Yep.
So he, Harry being the tough guy, he, tries to intimidate Ray Bones, and, this whole thing, he ends up hanging up on him. I love after Harry hangs up, he's just like, the fuck did I just do? I'm scared. This is all end bad. And it does. And So Chili sets up the bag at the airport. We already talked about that. Bo threatens Bear. They're literally at his house, and Bear wants to get out because actually Bear ran into Chili after Chili got released, and it was the whole thing. It's like, yeah, we're gonna need that key back, and he's like, so you set me up, and then you expect to have the key back? Well, you ain't gonna get the key back. Like, what the? Is this how you do things around here? Because it's really stupid. And then he knocks Bear down, and then they have a kind of a fun conversation. He's like, yeah, how many movies did you do? Yeah, like 60. Oh, well, what are some of the movies I like? Those. He's like, you've never seen them before. You've never seen any of them. He's like, oh, no, test me. Tell me what you did. And it's like that, and it's like they're forming some sort of connection there, which will benefit later.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because he asked him, he's like, hey, how you doing? Like after the fall, like, because he seems like concerned, like after he went down the steps, and he threw him down the steps, like he's trying to kind of apologize for a little bit. So
he's like, I hurt my quadricep or something.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So I think before Bo threatens Bear, do the Colombians show up? Because I think when Chili goes to the airport, he passes. When he's going one way, you see Ray show up, and then you see Mr. Escobar and his two guys show up. Another Jurassic Park guy, the guy from the beginning, Dr. Grant, he's a digger.
Yeah.
That guy.
That's the guy.
Is this supposed to be Pablo Escobar, or is it just a Colombian named Mr. Escobar?
I don't know.
It's a good question.
I don't remember when Pablo Escobar died.
I'm going to say allegedly, because I don't want to get popped by the mafia. I'm way up in Canada. They probably don't even know I exist, but still. Allegedly, maybe.
But yeah, they, of course, Mr. Escobar is looking for his money. He shows up at Bo's limo service and is looking for his money, but he's also looking for his nephew. And so you find out that Yayo was his nephew, and Bo's face is like, oh, I haven't seen him. I think he took your money and just left. And he's like, fuck. I shouldn't have been so impulsive.
Yep.
Yeah. Oops.
Like I said, he brings his own downfall.
Yep.
And we also see Doris. We meet Bette Midler's character, Doris, which Bette Midler goes uncredited in this movie.
It's just wild.
Which, she doesn't have a huge role, but this scene goes on for a while, and then you see her later in the movie. Actually, you see her twice. You see her 3 times in this movie. She probably has the most scenes for somebody who's uncredited. And this is post Hocus Pocus. Bette Midler looking pretty good.
Well, she's only supposed to be in the one scene, but then they realized she's so good.
Gene Hackman really liked working with her too. So he actually advocated to keep her around. And she's great. She's great in the scene, trying to seduce Harry. And I love the point that Harry is just kind of like, whatever. I'll just do it. Cause she wants him. And at first he's trying to push her away. And then at the end, he's like, yeah, whatever, get over here.
He's like, I don't know how I feel about this. And she goes, well, it feels like you feel pretty good about it. And he's like, oh yeah. Morally.
He's like, he was my friend. He's like, he's dead. And he's like, you got a point.
Yeah.
Oh man. But she's always a highlight when she shows up in anything. So let's see. So Bear, this is when Bo threatens Bear, because this is after they finds out about the Colombians, and Bear has kind of had his talk with Chili, and he goes there and he's just like, all right, we need to go find that money, because we gotta give the money to the Colombians. And this is when Bo actually threatens Bear with his own kid, because again, as Corey said, why are we bringing this kid around? This guy ends up being Uncle Bo. So clearly this girl has been around here a lot. And he's just, and Bear stands up for himself. He's like, this is my last job. This is it. I quit after this. And Bo kind of ignores that whole thing.
Yep.
He kind of just goes right past it and is kind of explaining what they need to do. And we kind of move on from there.
Yeah. Bo's not thinking 3 steps ahead like a Chili Palmer is, right? He's thinking, you got to go and find this money. And he's not even picking up the hints that, Bear is already done with his bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's aligned himself with Chili or whatever, he's telling him I'm done. No, you're not, because I'm threatening your daughter. All right, I'm done after this. He's not even seeing those warning signs. He's like, just go to his hotel room and find the fucking money. He's just focused on that one thing. and he's not thinking 3 moves ahead like a Chili Palmer would be.
Yeah, it just shows like I think that's what's great about this movie is seeing how different every group of characters are. Like not every set of gangsters are going to be the same, right? And it just shows the sophistication of Chili and how long he's been doing it and how he has been able to be so successful all these years because he doesn't sweat the small stuff, right? Like he always sees the big picture and he's always going to strive for that big picture where Bo is letting his impulses win. That's why he kills Yayo, like just because Yayo's running his mouth. So what's like, I just shut this guy up. I'm going to kill him. I don't want to listen to him anymore, but not knowing or not thinking about the repercussions of that and all that stuff. I mean, Bear I kind of feel bad for Bear because like, I feel like Bear is only doing this to kind of, because it's a job. Like he's not doing it because he respects Bo or anything. It's like, it's not just a job. Right. And he's even seeing the wrongs that Bo is doing, but he just can't get it through Bo's head. Bo's seeing things in a different view. So Ray shows up to Harry's office and they talk a bit. And I love when he's talking about the movie and like how, oh, if you, put your money into this, be a part of this movie, you could give, some of it now, you give some of it later. And I just love Ray. He's just sitting in his chair. It's like no interest at all in anything he's saying.
What did Ray say when he sat down? They say the fucking smog is the fucking reason you have such beautiful fucking sunsets.
Yep.
Well, I love the dude who picks him up from the airport. It's like Barbone.
From Miami Beach, you want to show me the fucking ocean? Like,
he's like, I hope you're a better driver than you are a fucking speller. It's Barbone. Fucking idiot.
So good.
Oh, so yeah, it doesn't end well for Harry because Ray is tired of listening to whatever bullshit he's spouting because he's like, where's Chili Palmer? And Harry's just like, oh no, and he literally gets up, grabs this fucking phone, and just clocks him in the face with this thing, and just beats the shit out of him, like throws him up, throws him all over the place to the point though where he like has him pinned on the ground, and he's got his foot on top of him, and that's when Ronnie shows up. And Ronnie's, he's like, hey, he works for, like, he's our guy. You need to get the fuck out of here. He's like, well, I'm here for my money. He's like, I don't give a fuck what you're here for. Like, he's our guy. To the point where he's like, oh, you must be a quick draw guy because you got with that gun so far down your pants. He's like, well, what do you got? Oh, I can't remember Dan, do you remember what kind of gun it was?
I can't remember if it was a Walther or a Sig, and he talks about it being a Jam-O-Matic or some shit like that, which I don't know when this book was written.
90.
Then was it?
90.
90. Okay. Escobar was allegedly killed in I don't know, in 93, by the way. But yeah, I mean, semi-automatics, they've been around for a long time, but still people really like revolvers. Like this guy was carrying a revolver because they're, more reliable. If it doesn't fire, it's just going to go to the next cylinder. So maybe that's the thought. Not familiar with the particular weapon he had, though.
So yeah, he right after he says the line about how they're like, the Jam-O-Matics, he literally, pops him a few times. But then he gives the gun to Harry, and he's like, all right, what I need you to do is I need you to put, aim at him, and I need you to put a bullet in him. Because, they have this test now where they can tell who's been firing a gun. And my favorite thing about this scene is when Ray is talking and he kind of looks away for a second, and Harry turns the gun onto his crotch. He's like, and Ray's reaction, he goes, Harry, we don't have time for this. And he like guides the gun away from his crotch to aim it back at Ronnie's dead body. That's so good. It's like my favorite. I literally have to rewind that to see it again because it's just so casual. Like, we don't have time for this. Because I seriously, because like I said, I haven't seen this movie in a while. I was almost certain he was just going to shoot him in the nuts. Like he was just going to fucking blast him. But the fact he's just like, no, we don't have time for this, Harry.
That's the cinematographer and Barry Sonnenfeld coming out, right? Because you're on the ground looking up at Ray. Like you said, he looks away and he's pointing at something. You just see the gun come into frame pointing at his nuts. And you see Ray just turn around like, we don't have time for this. And at least one of my favorite jokes in the movie that nobody even notices that Ronnie was popped. Yeah, he was popped 4 times in the chest and once in the foot.
Yeah,
in the foot.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
Even Bear's like, poor Ronnie, 4 times in the chest and once in the foot.
Oh. God.
I caught that. I was like, oh, so that's where he shot him at.
This is when Chili and Karen are hanging out at her house, and this is kind of when their kind of, attraction, comes together. This is the whole thing where she's like, well, what would you name the movie? Like Chili's Fantastical Journey, and he's like, nah, and he's like, how about Get Shorty? And that's I was like, I said the name of the movie.
Title card. No,
yeah. And then of course they make out and they have sex, but you don't see anything. They just wake up and then they're just having conversations about like the movies and stuff like that. But then they get a call from Doris saying that Harry's at the hospital. And so they go down there and Harry's in bad shape. He like has a broken jaw. His hands are all, I think his hands were broken too.
Yep.
Yeah. Like he is in rough shape. And I just love that he is being looked at by the doctors. And Karen is like touching his foot, like, hey, Harry, so we were going to cancel. We're having a lunch meeting with Martin and we want you to be there. We were going to cancel, but he's going to be at Cannes next week. So we got to go do this. It's just gonna be me and Chili. And I just love where the guy that you hear the nurse go, all right, who wants to try to wire his jaw shut? And all you see is his feet go.
You don't know what hurts more, the fact that he's getting his jaw wired shut or the fact that they're going to have this meeting with Martin without him.
Yeah.
So a very injured Harry shows up to the lunch date with Martin and all that. And I love how everyone is like, hey, Harry, yeah, good job, man. What's going on? It's like, I love the dudes are like, that's how it always works. Like you'll injure like your shoulder and somebody's always be like, hey, what's going on? Fucking smacks you into it. Like every time somebody touches him, he's like, as he's walking in. And Carrie's just like, Harry, you should have shot somebody a long time ago. You're famous now.
Yeah. And when they ask, Harry, what are you doing here? What does he mumble? My project.
Yeah.
Yeah, my project. Yeah.
And Chili's like, what did he say? And she's like, my project. But the funny thing is that Martin shows up in the Cadillac and minivans and he gets out and no one really reacts to him, but he's always like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, how you doing? Like everyone is saying hi to him, but I don't think anyone says hi to him. He's just saying hi to everybody else. Like I'm famous, right? Everybody should recognize me, but no one really reacts to him, which I thought was pretty funny. Like maybe he's not as famous. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was pretty funny. So they meet. He's literally there for like 5 minutes. He orders, he's like, can I get like 2 egg white omelets and blah, blah, blah. Like orders this stuff and to the point where no one else gets to order and then just leaves before any of it shows up.
Yep.
But we got that
and
drink
Chili,
with 2 straws for Harry.
And Chili he's like, no, I don't want that. Like he doesn't know how Hollywood works. Like, I don't want an omelet. Like
it's like, yeah, that's what celebrities do. They order things that aren't on the menu.
Yeah, I think Karen was explaining that to him. Like, this is how actors work. They go there and they try to order something they know isn't on the menu to see if they can get it. So stupid.
I mean, that's the thing. This is like, that's how people are, man. It's not even the fact it's just celebrities. There's just people are like that. They'll go to a restaurant and you're just like, hey, do you have this? And it's like, look at the menu. That's what we have.
There for a reason.
If it's not on the menu, we don't have it. So please,
not that hard.
If you don't like what's on the menu, go somewhere else.
Right.
So yeah, this is when Martin is explaining like the script that he's talking about is Chili's movie. And Harry's hearing it going, mob guy, like love interest. What? Like he's very confused. This isn't my movie. And then Martin's like, okay, I gotta go. I got another thing, and just leaves.
Yep. See you later.
Oh man. So then we get a similar scene to what we saw in the beginning, but it's with Chili and Karen in bed. And Karen wakes up and she's like, Chili, there's somebody downstairs. It's like what you did to Harry. Maybe it's Harry because he's getting back at you. And he's like, well, it's not Letterman. That's Rio Bravo. And she's like, okay, we got to get up. So he gets up, he goes down there. And I love that he doesn't immediately turn the TV off. He's about to turn the TV off, and then like a gunshot happens, and it kind of startles him, and he's like, he's got to watch it for a little bit, see what's going on. And then who would be there but Bo? And he's like, I need that money. And he's like, what? You're just gonna show up here and just ask for this money? Like, what what are you doing? Like, you guys are so bad at this. Like, he just loves pointing that out to these guys. And he's like, why don't I just, spray your brains on the back wall there? Like, and just end this. And of course, he's got the gun pointed at him. And then you heard earlier about how Karen has a really good scream. And then you get to see it in action here because she screams right as he shoots and he ends up missing. But then Bo takes Karen, kidnaps her and then goes away. So Chili's got to get the money because the money's not out the house. So he's going to get the money and he'll meet Bo back at his house. I don't know why you would go to your own house, but I digress. They get there and, Chili being as casual as possible. I love that Bo throws Karen into the bathroom and there's a pink toilet. She's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yes.
Okay.
And she sees Martin Weir's book because everyone has Martin Weir's book.
But her and Chili are the two smartest, coolest characters in the whole thing because she's not even the least bit concerned, right? She was just taken hostage. She gets thrown in this bathroom. What's her reaction when she gets let out? It's like, are you okay? The guy's got a pink toilet, for Christ's sake. Like she's not bothered at all. Like, these guys are clearly idiots.
Dude, when I seen that pink toilet, I literally thought that carpet, that bathroom should have been carpeted.
100%.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
For those of you that have been in really old homes,
yep.
Yes, that's what it felt like.
Yep.
Good call.
So Chili says he's going to give him the money, and then Bear starts beating the shit out of Chili. This is for the stairs. This is for the car. In the parking garage and all that. And then they get outside and they're kind of fighting and all that to the point where Bear throws both of them off and somehow catches Chili before he falls. The railing also comes apart this time, unlike the first time where the guy just kind of flies over. So it's kind of Bo's own plan going against him.
Well, I think also that when Bo went, he also grabbed Chili's jacket, which I don't think was necessarily part of the plan. I don't think Chili was supposed to go over originally. And then, of course, he catches him.
Also, though, the way he catches him, he would have had to catch him by his ankle because the way that Chili falls back, he falls backwards. Yep. I was like, there's no way he's grabbing him by the arm. But I love that Karen picks up the gun and shoots at Bear. And he's like, Karen, put the gun down. He's like, oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
You get the impression, though, maybe Chili wasn't quite in on the entire thing because he looks at Bear before he starts punching him and says, are you going to let him talk to me like that? So it's almost like, Bear, you should be interjecting yourself here, but Bear instead starts punching him in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that little moment, he's like, maybe Chili's not quite,
fully in on it.
Yeah.
Either fully in on it or Bear doesn't fully comprehend how he should do it.
Yeah, Bear had a plan that he didn't quite tell Chili, like, okay, we'll take care of Bo, no worries, but he didn't tell him about the railing or anything like that.
So Bo is dead. I love the whole thing. It's like, oh, what happened? It's like, I don't know, some bolts might be missing, and kind of has the bolts in his hand and then drops them. Also, I'm like, your fingerprints are all over those fucking bolts.
Yes.
We then have an interaction with Chili and Ray back at Chili's hotel room or apartment or whatever this is supposed to be. And you get the whole thing where, he's looking for the money from Leo, and he finds the key in Chili's pocket to that locker.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets the whole thing where he's just like, hey, you know what, Chili? Why don't we just, bygones be bygones, all right? Everything we had against each other, we'll just drop it. We'll just be friends, Why can't we just be friends? And, Chili, going along with it is just like, yeah, no problem, Ray. All that stuff. I love that Ray thinks he wins. He goes, he's like, fucking idiot, as he walks out.
Yeah.
And Ray goes, he walks by Karen in the van, which I always thought was great. I fucking Ray, man. He walks to the curb, the taxi's there, and he has to have the taxi move up like 10 feet. So it's like, I'm not going to walk that extra 10 feet to get it.
Fucking Ray Barboni. You come to me.
Son of a bitch. You know who I am. And he goes to the airport, and you get the whole scene, where he walks up to the locker and he opens it up. And then as it pans out, it's actually turns into the scene of Chili's movie. And it's Harvey Keitel playing Ray. And the fact is, they mention Harvey Keitel earlier when Chili and Bo are talking. They talk about Harvey Keitel, and he mentions a movie called Fingers. I don't know if that's a real movie. I've never heard of it. Also, he mentions Morgan Freeman, and you get the whole thing where he's like, "Oh yeah, he's that colored guy," and he's like, "Yeah, but he's like, what does it matter if he's a colored guy? It would add some spice to the role." I was like,
That's so funny.
Morgan Freeman would add some spice to the role.
Absolutely.
Morgan fucking Freeman, man.
It is. It's true.
Yeah, you got Harvey Keitel playing Ray. You know, of course, you have you have Martin Weir with this weird like high tech, like it looks like a Terminator gun. It looks like the gun the T-800 has in Terminator when he shoots everybody up at the club. But it's not working. It's not firing. And who's there to help him try to figure it out? But Bear. Penny Marshall's the director, which is weird because I don't think Penny Marshall would have directed a movie like this.
Fingers is a real movie.
I love Ray Bones' line that Harvey Keitel delivers though when he turns around. You remember the line?
I don't remember.
Fuck you, fuckball.
Yeah. Hey, Fingers is a real film.
Oh, all right.
1978. It's a mob movie.
Yeah.
Looks like some mob related film. Yeah, Harvey Keitel's in it.
Harvey Keitel was in some absolute bangers in the 70s. He was in Serpico. He was in
Apocalypse Now.
He was
Taxi
in
Driver,
Bad Lieutenant, Taxi Driver, Mean Streets. Like he was a Scorsese like regular during the early days of Scorsese. Yeah, so everybody's there. Everybody's like there to make this movie. I love that. You know, the gun's not going to work, so they got to figure that out before they shoot the next scene. And Penny Marshall's like, "Harry, what are we doing?
The wrong button.
Yeah,
you're hitting the wrong button.
Harry, what do we do now?" Button. And Harry's like, "You know, it's it. We're done for the day. That's a wrap. That's a wrap today." And Doris just comes out of nowhere. It's like, "Harry, you should have just gave some overtime to get that one shot. We're already 2 weeks behind."
Yeah, it's the second day of shooting, and we're 2 weeks behind.
Yeah, and that's ultimately it. We see Chili and Karen ride off in the Cadillac of minivans.
And Penny Marshall and Martin Weir.
Yep.
All the ones we're at are fucking old silhouettes.
Yep.
Except for Harry Zim's car. You see his old Mercedes sitting behind him.
Yep. And that's it.
Wild.
That is Get Shorty from 1995.
The Cult-Worthy Podcast. Join me, Antonio Palacios, each week as I guide you through a never-ending sea of obscure cinema and cult-worthy gems that deserve a rediscovery. Find me on all listening platforms and at thecultworthy.com. The Cult-Worthy Podcast. Join us.
Are you looking for a movie podcast with deep dives, interviews, and thoughtful film analysis?
We ain't got none of that. What do we got?
You want to hold the bucket?
Right, I'll hold the bucket, sit in the
I'll
cuff
just
chair.
there with I will never blink. I'll just be there holding the bucket.
I will never blink
on
her drapes, most likely. You look like a drape jizzer.
R.I.P. that sweet, sweet pussy. It is known that Jessica Tandy had the sweetest pussy in Hollywood. If you don't know, Google it. Don't Google Jessica Tandy's pussy, you guys. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Doom Generation. Available anywhere you find podcasts.
Now it's time to go around the room and see what everyone here thought of the movie after rewatching it and talking about it. We're going to start with our guest, Corey. What's your final verdict on Get Shorty?
I love this movie. I've always loved it since I first saw it in 95. I think it gets better upon every rewatch because you get those little moments that you kind of forget about, like Penny Marshall looking at Danny DeVito and saying, "You hit the wrong button again." I didn't hit the wrong button. No, I don't. I know what I'm doing type thing. This is a great movie. Elmore Leonard is one of my favorite authors. I love Rum Punch. I love Out of Sight. I love Get Shorty. I haven't got into his westerns too much, but I watched 3:10 to Yuma. Like, that is a brilliant fucking western. I really want to do a deep dive into them. When I was growing up, I was reading Stephen King. I was reading Gregory McDonald, the Fletch series, and then that led me into Elmore Leonard. And the fact that they made this like an Elmore Leonard novel, like it's very fast. Elmore Leonard novels are a very quick read. This is a very fast watch. Even now, I've seen it 100 times. I watched it again 2 nights ago with my kid for the first time. and it's just so fast paced. Like all 10 minutes, you have Chili Palmer, the whole fuck up with Ray. He's going to look for a dry cleaner, then he's going to try and find Harry Zim. Like it's just relentless from start to finish. Absolutely brilliant. The dialogue is just spot on. It's one of my favorite movies. I think it's John Travolta's best movie, and he's been brilliant in a lot of movies. He is perfect for this role. The cast is unbelievable. Scott Frank is one of my favorite screenwriters writing today. You mentioned Logan. He did some uncredited work on stuff like Minority Report, and I think he did some work on Gravity and stuff like that. Very prolific writer, very, very good. Everything about this movie just fucking sings to me. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Awesome. Dan, what did you think about this movie?
This is one of those movies that you definitely need to watch more than one time, because I've watched it once and I was like, this is a really well-made movie, but probably wouldn't see it again. But now that we're going back and talking about it, I'm like, I probably need to watch this movie again, because at first I didn't know what I was getting into. I remember seeing this movie advertised growing up. You put the VHSs, the coming attractions would play and stuff like that. And I remember the movie Get Shorty. Don't remember anything about it. And you brought it up that we were covering it. And then we started talking about it. I was like, okay, yeah, it's now that I didn't realize it was supposed to be like a comedy. Like I had no fucking clue. Cause like the way some of the, like we talked about John Travolta is straight the whole fucking movie. And like some of the other characters are, and then you can't tell who's joking, and some things are funny. And then I'm not sure about this other stuff. And like, I didn't know going into it, but yeah, definitely should watch it more than once. It's fantastically acted. As said, the writing's really great. And it is a breeze. It felt like it went straight through. Didn't really feel like it bogged. It hit everything it needed to do, and it was done. And I want to, before I give a proper verdict of how I feel about it, I really want to watch it again. But I do think you probably should see it at least once. It seems like a really good movie. Like I enjoyed my watch. So though slightly misplaced in my head where I was supposed to be at times, but that could have just been me. So
yeah, this movie is a blast. Like I said, I watched it 3 times before this episode, mostly because my memory is awful and I have to go over notes multiple times. But also, this movie is just, and it wasn't like when I was rewatching it the second and third time, it was like, oh, I got to rewatch it again for this or whatever. I had a blast every single time. It's just so well paced. The acting is fantastic. The cinema, like Corey was saying, the cinematography is fantastic. Like everything about this movie just works. And it just shows like how like going back, like this is 30 years old now, which is wild to think about. And like movies that were made in the 90s just were like different. They just felt different. And like this was my childhood. Like this was, I was way too young watching this movie, and it, like rewatching it kind of brought me back to those days of watching this, at my dad's house on, a 24-inch CRT TV, sitting 2 feet from the screen, just having an absolute blast.
But honestly, even just for this movie, even like language aside and a little bit of subject matter, it's really not that bad content-wise of a film.
No.
Like depending on your perspective for like a younger person possibly watching it.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, this is definitely one yeah, they say fuck. And to be honest, my kids have heard that word. So it's like... Yes. It's like I'm not gonna be like, okay, I gotta watch this when the kids aren't around. Like maybe my littlest one, because he likes to repeat everything. But my 2 older ones, it's like I don't care. It doesn't have nudity. It doesn't have those extreme things that I'd be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't watch this with them.
It's a very tame R. It really just is. The F-bombs that yes. There's no blood. There's no nudity. I watch this.
Well, there's a little bit.
A little bit. I watched it with my 13-year-old, and it's probably the tamest movie I've seen with her in a long time. Because she loves the Conjuring franchise and Scream, and she loves horror movies. So this was pretty tame for her. She was pretty bored, I think, for a lot of it. But she enjoyed the witty dialogue and the cool storyline. It's a movie you don't get nowadays because it was 105 minutes. Like it was under 2 hours, which you don't get a lot nowadays, right? Everything's 2.5, 2:45, even 3 hours. Like it was just very briskly paced, kind of like an Elmore Leonard novel. I could read Get Shorty in like an afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, movies like this nowadays, you got to get like half hour for each character to give them character development and this, that, and the other. And it's like, no, I don't need to know the backstory of Ray Bones. I don't need to know the backstory of Chili Palmer. Like, I don't need to know what they were doing before the events of this movie. Just like, I know who they are. and I want to know what they're going to do in this movie.
A good storyteller sets that up early on, right? You get Ray Bones telling that dumb joke. It's chilly outside and it's chilly inside. You automatically know this guy's a fucking idiot.
And he steals his jacket.
Yeah, and he steals his jacket. That's all you need to know about Ray Bones.
Literally, it's like you said. It's they set the characters up so well in the first 5-10 minutes. You know exactly who these characters are.
Yep.
Angela, I did text her and ask her, and she said she did really like the movie. And if she wanted to, if she's going to elaborate, I think she'll do it next week, maybe at the beginning of next week's podcast.
All right.
Sure, when I'm not here, I'm really taking this personally. God,
I'm going to tell her that. I'm like,
Corey,
next time.
This is not the only time you're going to be on the show. You'll be back.
She's the only reason I'm here, and she's not even here. I'm heartbroken.
I'm going to tell her that. And like, next time, like, be sick when Corey's on.
She's so good. She's so good. I love hearing her opinions on everything. It's great.
Oh, she's Wes.
You guys, I could take her leave.
That's what I like to hear.
Yep. I don't take offense to that. But yeah, this is a blast. This is a lot of fun. This is definitely a movie that if I need something playing in the background, or I'm just feeling bored and I need something to kind of keep me company, this is definitely that perfect movie because there's just so many fun characters. It's such a simple. It's a story that you have to pay attention to, but also it's just like, eventually you'll figure it out of what's going on in the movie. This is definitely one of Travolta's best films. Like, it's so, I remember him being good in this, but after rewatching it, I was like, wow, he was really good in this movie. And, because like later on, he starts becoming a cartoon character. Like when you watch him in Face Off, you watch him in Broken Arrow, you watch these later movies, like the action movies with him, you're like,
Punisher.
He's just, oh my God, the Punisher.
Yes.
Damn. Yeah, this is definitely one of those Travolta movies where like it kind of feels like a mixture of something he did in the past and he's kind of bringing it to modern light, right? That tough guy, but not being like overly exaggerated tough guy. So yeah,
when he says look at me, like you're like, oh fuck.
So why do I got to keep looking at you? I love that. All right, now it's time to go over to social media and see what you all had to say about Get Shorty. We got a few. First one is from @DarthEmic, who says, I've seen Be Cool, but not this. You saw the sequel, but not this one? I say watch this one, please.
Yeah. I saw Jaws 3 and it made no sense.
Yeah. Tell them all about it, motherfucker, Mike.
Oh, @Movies Days or Movies for Days says David Paymer and James Gandolfini are the unsung heroes of this movie. And is that Delroy Lindo and Dennis Farina as well? Forget it. The whole cast fucking slaps. What was with Be Cool? Did anyone actually see that flick? Yes. Oh, kind of. I don't mean anyone at DTF. I mean literally anyone.
I saw it once, and I don't remember a lot from it. I remember The Rock's song.
Oh, my God.
His country western song, yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, listen, I'll put it out there right now. If you guys want us to cover Be Cool at some point down the line, leave a comment down below on the YouTube video, or just email us at dissectthatfilm@gmail.com, or DM us on any of our social medias and just say, hey, review Be Cool. And if we get enough of them, then I feel like we're obligated to do it.
Can I come back for that one? Will Angela be here?
Yeah, you can come back.
Maybe.
100%.
Okay.
I'll come back. Parker won't.
That's all right.
That's when I step
as long as I got Dan and Angela, I'm good.
I'm glad they're cheering for us. We appreciate it, bro. We appreciate it.
@SWO Productions or Stu World Order says this has been in my watch list for years. I need to get to it. Yes, you sure.
Oh yes, you do. Immediately.
Let's see. I don't think we got anything on Instagram. Oh no, we did get one. We got one over on Instagram from Team TNA Podcast. It says, I love this entire series. And I went, and I just wanted to be like, there's 2 movies, but series, sure. Did you watch the show? Maybe that's what you're talking about.
Maybe. Yeah,
maybe.
I didn't see the show.
Did
you guys ever watch the TV series?
No, because it was on like a weird channel that I never got. So I never. Yeah, I think it's on like MGM Plus right now.
Canada. Yeah, it's not available in Canada. I don't think so.
Yeah, I have literally no idea. Let's see. don't think we got anything else other than I did get one. I did post in the Power Positive Geeking Discord about the fact that Corey was going to be on the show. So leave us your comments on the movie. And we did get one. Let's see.
Thank you, one person that was paying attention. No, I'm just kidding.
From Padawan Michael says, only that Travolta rejected the role for Sonnenfeld. I think more than once. Tarantino convinced him to take it. Travolta's comeback was thanks to Tarantino and Pulp Fiction and included an Oscar nomination. His comeback continued thanks to him. That's the stuff that I enjoy learning about. Have fun. We did mention all that, but thank you for giving us that fact, because it's super cool. Like, you know, as we try to do the best we can, like, we're not a history podcast, even though for some reason we're on history podcast rankings. You know, we try to find cool facts to kind of bring you, you know, on the movie and stuff, because I think just talking about the movie is fun, but kind of giving you guys some insight into some behind the scenes stuff that you may not know. Like, there are people out there who probably listen to everything that we say for behind the scenes for movies and be like, I already knew that. Like, you can literally just go on the internet and find it. But there's always that one person who's just like, holy shit, I never knew that. And they'll leave a comment on it, which is cool. So that's why we do that. So
the Travolta song started with Pulp Fiction, kind of continued with this. He got a Golden Globe nomination, I believe, for this film. And then it led to like Disney movies like Phenomenon and Michael and that kind of stuff. And it really wasn't until Battleship Earth or whatever that everything kind of fucking fell apart, right?
Oh, Scientology, the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of he fell off the cliff there and really hasn't kind of recovered.
Nope. That one. Sure hasn't. All right, well, that is it for all of that fun. That is it for Get Shorty. Next week is episode 199. We're so close to 200, but we have another special movie we're going to be talking about next week with one of our, scary, Beware of Trucks. The movie that started it all when it came to trucks chasing person. It's a terrifying situation, because we're going to be talking about Duel. Steven Spielberg's directorial debut, even though it was a TV movie, but it was still his directorial debut. It was, some people call it, it was definitely an inspiration for Jaws, as people like to call it. Jaws with a truck. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
We're very excited to talk about Duel. It's a movie that I've owned for a long time, and I haven't seen it in years. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, and I've kind of saved it for the fact that I knew we were going to cover it on the show. And I figured the penultimate episode to 200, why not talk about a special movie, especially a movie from a director that I adore with every ounce of my being. Steven Spielberg is my all-time favorite director. For anyone who doesn't know, I am obsessed with Jaws. It's my favorite movie of all time, and Spielberg is the man behind it. So to talk about his first movie is going to be a lot of fun. And we got a really fun guest on, one of our regulars, and he's probably going to be bringing some heat next week. So we're very excited to talk about Duel.
Yeah, he'll be running that clock.
Mm-hmm. And if you know that, you know who it is. All right, now it's time for our guest to tell us where we can find all the 12 shows that he does and everything that he does podcasting wise, life wise. I don't care. Share everything, Corey. Where can we find you? And thank you.
You can't. I'm nowhere. No, I'm getting a website at some point. cmpu.ca. It was a joke that the Corey Morrissette podcast universe, because I started doing a podcast and that spun out about a dozen other podcasts. So that was kind of the joke. That's the web address. The website doesn't exist yet because my webmaster is a lazy piece of crap. But you can catch me on. Thank you. And the podcast will rock. We're a Van Halen podcast. We covered the entire Van Halen catalog. Now we're going into the solo stuff. So whether you like David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, Gary Sharon from Extreme, or Mammoth WVH, that's what we're covering this year. Then I have my show, The Ultimate Catalog Clash, with my friend Kevin Brown. We break down a different artist every year with a certain grading system that I stole from the Food Network. So we're going to rate albums based on music, lyrics, and production. and we're going to determine who is the ultimate winner every season. We did Phil Collins era Genesis, we did Metallica, we did Foo Fighters, and this season we're doing albums from 1983. So we got a real eclectic version of albums from 1983. We've done Quiet Riot, Motley Crue. We're just doing Culture Club and Cyndi Lauper right now. So really covering the wide gamut of albums from 1983. That's happening right now. I did a show on Aerosmith that's kind of wrapped up. We might kind of resurrect that, though. I do the Power of Positive Geeking, where we just talk positively about our favorite films. Brett Parker was on that podcast a few times, talking about Crimson Tide, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Tony Scott's best movie, I think. And coming up in June, Parker will be back talking about Jaws in a special 2-part episode, which is maybe my favorite podcast I maybe ever recorded. It turned out that fucking well. And then I got a couple other things in the work. We're doing a First Watch podcast on the series Manimal, which is turning out to be quite interesting. If anyone knows the TV series Manimal, we're watching.
Wasn't that based on a comic, Marvel comic?
I don't know if it was, but this was the
80s,
NBC
right?
show, from the 80s, where a man can turn into any animal he wants, but he chooses either a hawk or a panther, and that's it.
Okay, so it's
be whatever you want, but only these two animals.
Yeah, just these two, because we have B-roll of these two animals. Yeah.
Well, it's like reverse Dracula, because you always see him either turn into a bat or a wolf, even though he can turn into a lot of things.
Right.
So, but it's like the good version.
Yeah, and he's solving crimes, which is just a ridiculous premise for a show. We're watching that. That should be coming out in 2025. And also doing a new podcast right now called Rock Court, where we're actually going to present a case, and we're going to have two rock attorneys argue a case. And the case for season 1 is, who is the better lyricist, David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar? So that's going to be dropping very, very soon. And I kind of want to do a film offshoot of that called Film Court, where we find maybe a couple of film fans who are going to argue a case, maybe Mr. Peabody versus Marty McFly for the ruination of his elm trees or pine trees in Back to the Future. Stuff like that. Pretty much just a debate show. With music or with movies. So both of those things are coming down the pipeline here in 2025.
There you go.
Whew. So many things that you should be listening to.
We need more podcasts.
No. I don't got the time. I don't got the time for all that. Oh, man. So all of the links and everything that has to do with all the podcasts that Corey is a part of will be down in the description of the video or in the show notes. So make sure to check it all out. Literally, my love of Van Halen was the reason I was introduced to this man. I've been obsessed with Van Halen since I was a kid, and I can't even remember when I discovered you or how a post must have popped up about an episode you guys were doing, and I was like, Van Halen podcast? Absolutely. Then I was lucky enough to get on an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was, I had the opportunity to be on a live show to talk about an entire album. So yeah, it was a great relationship formed for our love of Van Halen, and just grew from there. And yes, it was a blast getting to hang out with you to talk about Crimson Tide and Jaws. I can't wait for people to hear the Jaws episode. Because it's way better Jaws episode than our Jaws episode, which we did it was like the 4th or 5th episode of the show. So
yeah, fuck our Jaws episode.
It's getting redone, people. Don't you worry.
It's really good. It's really good. But I'm really, really glad you guys finally asked me to be on your show, because I've been a fan of your show since I found you. And dissect that film. That sounds great. I've been listening to kind of my favorite movies, and even some movies I didn't love as much as others, just to hear the opinions on it, especially Angela. She's not here, but I'll get over it at some point. But
that's why I told her she needs to talk more.
Oh my God, she needs to talk more. Absolutely,
she's our Silent Bob. She only talks when it's relevant.
And it's always gold. It's always gold.
Yeah,
but
always.
I've been waiting. Like, I didn't want to poke him. Like, say, hey, I'll be on your show if you want me to. So I've been holding back, and finally I get a message like, hey, what are you doing on Sunday? And it's like, I don't give a fuck what I'm doing on Sunday. I'm moving it. because I want to be on your show. What's the movie when you said Get Shorty? I'm like, oh my fucking God, you picked like one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Yes, I have to be on the show. So thank you for putting up with my bullshit. Hopefully I didn't muck up the works too bad here and interject too much stupid shit. I love this movie. I love this podcast. And I thank you so much for inviting me on. And hopefully I get to do it again someday.
Oh, absolutely. You will definitely be back. And we'll make sure that Angela is, back from, wherever she is.
You promise? You promise?
I promise.
I'll fucking try.
Listen, next time, if she says she can't be on the show, we'll just have to move it. We'll just have to move it until she's available.
I would appreciate that. Like, this was pretty painful just talking to you two guys. But
yeah,
I'll do it again if Angela's going to be here, because I'm interested in her opinions on movies.
It's fair.
That's one of the reasons why she's on the show, because we like to hear her opinions too. I mean, Dan gets to hear them all the time, but I don't.
Yeah,
to a degree.
She just beats me.
And I want more cleaning shit too. Tell me more about carpets and mold and shit. I want a podcast on that.
I give you one right now.
Please.
Right now, this is a free tip. Free tip, help you all out. If you have a spot, like you spill something on your carpet, rubbing alcohol. Not guaranteed to get the stain out, but most cleaners you use, like, oh, I got a spill, I'm going to go use this carpet cleaner. The problem with carpet cleaners you buy over the counter is they're very heavily reliant on surfactants, so soaps. If you do not get that all out, it attracts soil right back to it. Rubbing alcohol dries very quickly, so it does not have time to bring soilage back to it. But do a test area so you don't strip color out of your carpet.
That's brilliant. That's why I'm here.
There we go.
Shit like that.
I probably could save people tons of fucking money right there.
That's going to be our new segment. It's going to be like Dan's cleaning tip, and that's going to come at the end of the episode. So if you want to know Dan's cleaning tip for the episode, or for that episode, you got to listen to the end. You got to listen to the end.
Good Lord.
And I'm not going to put a fucking tag saying where it is so that you guys skip the entire episode. You got to listen.
That's right.
The entire episode. Or maybe we just throw it randomly wherever, so you never know where it is in the episode.
It's just randomly, like, boom.
This is why you're the fucking man. This is why you're the man. That is brilliant. I wish I was at your level. I'm like, and you're like Chili fucking Palmer. And I'm like,
oh God,
I'm not quite there yet. Maybe
I literally, all jokes aside, like, I have fucked with customers before. We've walked in, like, carpet's just really, really bad. And I'm like, what do I need to take care of this? I'm like, have you considered matches and gasoline? Literally, I've told the customer that. Of course, I know the customer, so I could kind of poke a little bit, but there's been some bad shit.
Oh man. Well, it's been this is a long one, so let me do my final spiel and get this so we can get the hell out of here. You can find us on all the social medias. We are either Dissect That Film or Dissect That Film Pod. You can find us on all those social medias. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, other whatever social media that's out there. We're probably on it. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/dissect that film, where you can watch the video form of the episodes. So hello, YouTube. And we're on Patreon, patreon.com/dissect that film, where for a single $1 you can help support the show. As you know, it's not free to run a podcast, so all the dollars that are thrown at the Patreon go right back into the show for all the things that we use for the show. So, thank you for the support. And you get uncut versions of the episode. So literally, once this is done, I literally upload this version of the episode to Patreon, and you guys get all the goodies in the beginning and all the, pauses and everything. I don't cut nothing unless it's like a huge, massive pause where no one wants to listen to that. Maybe that's like the only thing I'll do. I swear. And then lastly, we have another show on this feed called The Monster Zone, where once a month we spin a wheel and it lands on a monster movie and we talk about it. This will be out in April. So you're going to get a Patreon Vault episode, which I don't know what it is right now, but you're going to get one. And then the newest episode is going to be on 1959's The Alligator People, starring Lon Chaney Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, we really enjoy that show. So make sure you're not looking for it as a separate show. It is part of the Dissect That Film feed. So if you listen to us, if you listen to the regular episodes, it's going to pop up there. So make sure to go support. If you're a monster movie fan, or if you're just a fan of movies and you want to listen about movies you thought you would never see, listen to us talk about it and make your own opinion and go watch them, because those classic movies need some love too. And lastly, I want to thank our wonderful patrons. We have Billy Joseph Jr., Andrew Schoening, Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast, Corey Morrissette, Daniel Collins, Rudy5453, Dustin from the Flicks and Friends Podcast, Dan and Angela, Anna Presley, Doom Generation, Eric Stein, Jason, and Robert Stewart. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon, and thank you to everybody else for supporting us, period. We love you. Make sure to rate and review the show. Make sure to share the episodes. We want more people to listen to the show, so do your part, and we appreciate it. So thank you. And until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan. And that is Corey Morrissette of all the shows that he mentioned earlier. And this has been another episode of the Dissect That Film podcast. We'll see y'all again on the next one. Bye-bye.